Rain hammers the tent. Outside, a horde of undead presses in. A frantic voice slams the door, begging to be let in. He shouts, "Zong Hen!" Inside, everyone hides. 3 men brace the doorway. One asks what they're supposed to do. A blonde girl yells, "Open it now!" Zong Hen is their classmate. They can't abandon him. She's the class rep. She vows to take responsibility. Leaving him out is a death sentence. One of the men insists he's probably already bitten, yet she refuses to back down. He grits his teeth. He turns to Yubei, declaring he'll open the door. The door will slam shut in seconds. Zong bursts in, counting aloud before Yubei can reply. His command hangs. Everyone tenses. He twists the knob, and the man beside Yubei shoves him aside. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a classic example of the overly trusting apocalypse character who thinks they're saving humanity, but actually just speeds up the sequel. The room erupts into chaos. The protagonist bellows for obedience. Infected. The blonde bolts, and panic erupts. The hero thrusts his arm up, deflecting a bite. The fang sinks deep. Agonizing pain explodes through him. A flood of memories crashes over him. That day he lost his arm as the horde descended. The city collapsed. The world went dark. A cloaked figure asks, "Are you sure?" A doctor watches, knowing only 2 options remain. They slam the button. He's returned. The instant the door cracks, he steps out, one arm, an entire apocalypse behind him. Back at the very beginning. Outside, Zong pounds the door again. Blonde Rowaxi, still the class rep, shouts to open it. She won't abandon her classmates. Yubei watches her, noticing how youthful she still looks. "Are you deaf? If you don't open it, you'll kill him!" she snaps. Yubei feels the plan lock in. He's back to rewrite everything. He yells her name. If Zong's already bitten, how will she react? She declares no one saw the bite, there's no proof, and as representative she'll bear full responsibility. Yubei smirks, conceding. "Then open the door yourself," she retorts. Ruashi freezes in shock. The other girls fix their gaze on him. She shouts he's no true man, forcing a woman to act. He snaps back. Preaching is easy when you risk nothing. In the end she's a hypocrite, screaming for him to be quiet. She claims she feels no fear. He brands them cowards and orders them forward. She yanks the knob and twists it. The door bursts open as Jang Hun, already mutated, storms in. Pandemonium erupts once more. The door crashes down onto the floor. Ruoshi scrambles to her feet and spots the infected Zhang hang mere inches from her face. He lunges forward. Everyone scatters. Ruashi clutches the trembling man beside her, then shoves him ahead, shouting for him to shield her. A foot crashes into her ribs. Yubei kicks her straight toward Zhang Heng. The zombie claws at her waist. Its teeth snap inches from her ear. A screwdriver is thrust forward. It pierces the skull, bursting it wide open. Blood erupts in a crimson spray. Yubei watches, a cold, thin smile curled. Ruoshi tumbles out onto the floor. Still tangled in the corpse, she lifts her gaze to Yubei, pleading for rescue. He recalls his past life, how she shattered him. He hoists the fallen door. She demands, "What are you doing?" He slams it shut, locking her out. Then he turns to the others. "Why didn't you close it?" Panic spikes as the group scrambles to barricade the entrance. They haul furniture, boxes, ladders, anything, to stack a towering barrier. Outside, Ruoshi pounds on the door, screaming for answers. She cries, "I'm the class rep, don't treat me like this." Yet no one moves to rescue her. The survivors keep piling the barricade higher. Yubei watches, unmoving. Minutes crawl by. The rain finally ceases. At last, Ruoshi's cries fade into silence. The room shifts. Fear now hangs over Yubei. Once the gentle one, he now feels like a stranger. He scans the dim room. The girls sob uncontrollably. The boys avert their gaze. "Why are you all scared of me?" he demands. They hurriedly deny it. The blonde boy thanks Yib, realizing his kick saved Ruoshi from being used as bait. The mood darkens as whispers label Ruoshi selfish and filthy, saying she'd sacrifice anyone to save herself. Yib offers a faint smile. "If you're all so brave," he says, "open the door. I want to see what's outside." They hesitate, questioning why he'd go out there. He shrugs, admitting the kick may have been too harsh. He just wants to check on her despite the zombies. Yib snaps, ordering everyone to move. Shaken, they clear the bed. They tear down the barricade and pull the door open. He steps onto the grass. Dawn washes the field in light, but Ruoshi is nowhere to be seen. No sign of Zhang Hun, no crawling zombies. Behind him, the door slams shut with a final thud. Voices from inside warn, "We can't let a mad killer back in. He'll kill us all." Yib doesn't glance back. He strides calmly across the grass as whispers claim he's lost his mind. The blonde boy freezes. A lone female zombie blocks Yib's path. He keeps moving. She locks eyes with him. He smiles, his resolve tightening. He tightens his grip on the weapon. With a sudden burst, he lunges forward. The zombie barely flinches yet. He shatters its skull in one swift strike. He presses on without pause, driving the corpse into the earth. Inside, they're now sure he's lost his mind. Yubei gasps, his breath ragged. Even he feels the strain. He drops to the ground beside the body and pulls out a tiny, pearl-like artifact. He flashes a grin, clutching an energy stone, the very source of the apocalypse, and the key to surviving it. A footstep echoes behind him. He whirls around. An ancient zombie shambles forward. Yabe brandishes his machete, charging straight at the creature. In a heartbeat, the monster collapses. Inside, a girl retches in shock. The blonde boy watches stunned. This is the Yabe he once knew. How could he change so completely? Rumors swirl. He's only faking. No one changes overnight, but a boy argues. Let him back. He's strong enough to slay zombies. The others reject him, calling him a lunatic who could turn on them. A window shatters abruptly. Yabe peers inside, grinning. You still in there? Come out, zombie hunting's fun. They shiver. A scream erupts. Something looms behind him. A zombie lunges forward. Yabe stays calm, glancing back. He lifts his foot, drives it straight into the chest. Gripping his tool once more, he shatters the zombie's jaw. The creature collapses, another corpse hitting the floor. Inside, the onlookers freeze, eyes glued to the carnage. Yeeb wipes blood from his face, silence hanging, then murmurs. I wanted to stay, but it's too risky. I can't hurt anyone. He turns and departs, wishing them survival. The group watches, unsure if he's truly walking away. He strides across the empty campus alone. He ascends the staircase. And that's how it all began. Day 1, half the world infected. Governments crumble, economies collapse, societies shatter. The beasts multiply, terror spreads. Professor Zanhun dubs it the Dark Era. In his previous life, he amputated his arm to survive that first day. 15 years of starvation and torment passed until he met the mechanic, the very man who sent him back. Now he strides calmly through deserted streets. Hidden onlookers whisper, some call him fearless. The others warn that a lone wanderer like him spells danger. Unfazed, he strides toward the abandoned park. Zombies litter the grounds, bodies strewn about. They lie still, silent. Only when he turns his back do they stir. Then they surge forward in a frenzy. A onlooker yells, the kid's dead, while an elder mutters, searching for food in this hell is madness. Yabe merely smirks. With a single swing, a skull shatters. Another foe collapses. A crushing slam ends the third. The onlookers stare in disbelief. Where did he find that nerve? From behind a curtain. A girl watches too. Sooner or later I'll kill that bastard, she mutters. After 3 kills, Yube's breath ragged. He hears wings as birds take flight. More zombies close in. Too many. One crawls toward him. He bolts. The earlier noise must have summoned a horde. From a nearby house, a voice scoffs. That kid's charging straight at us. Yub spots a convenience store and pounds on the door. He glances into the camera. Open up, I'm being chased. An old man inside scoffs. No one's opening for a random kid. Yet the gate lifts on its own. A zombie rounds the corner. It lunges. Yub shatters its skull midair. An old woman staggers in. He drops his 2 weapons. He slips beneath the half-open gate. Rolls straight into the building. Zombies slam against the doors behind him. But for now he's safe. Inside, shelves brim with supplies. A perfect stronghold. At a computer desk, a little girl watches his every move. Next door, a nightclub hums with neon. Spank peers through binoculars, noting, the kid's wiping everyone out. The Mohawk man tells Brother Centipede a student just took down 6 zombies solo. Centipede chuckles. The women crowd him, but they're weaker than expected. If a student can handle this, we'll be fine. Back inside the store, Yube cracks a smile. He scans the counter, calling, come out, I've already seen you. He demands the keys so he can lock everything down. Silence falls. He lets out a weary sigh. Clutching his arm, he mutters, my wound's bad, I might not make it. A girl emerges from behind the door. She slides a vial of medicine across the counter. He clamps his hand on her wrist. Seriously, no romance. She's just a kid. Yabe demands the remote, swearing he'll stay harmless. What remote? She retorts, even though it's clutched in her palm. He lunges forward and snatches it. She darts away, shielding her face. From behind the counter, their gazes lock. He kicks a nearby shelf. The impact makes her flinch. He scoffs, calling her foolish for thinking he's injured. Moments slip by. Rain begins to pour outside. He collapses onto the bed, exhausted. The girl gently tends his mangled arm. The agony is fierce, yet he bears it. After a while, she declares she's finished. He thanks her for saving his life. She snaps the first aid kit shut, warning the outside is too perilous. Her father ordered her to stay in the shop. He can rest there while she fetches food later. She walks away. He realizes her kindness saved him. She's the only one who opened a door. Without her, he'd be dead. Suddenly, her voice echoes from the front, questioning the men outside. He snaps upright. A crowd gathers outside the shop. Centipede thanks her for letting his friends in. She nervously asks if they just want food. He smiles. Yes, and claims the place as his. She mentions her father returns soon. They laugh, knowing he's already a zombie lure. With her gone, they're free to start the game. Yabe lurks in the shadows, hearing them slaughter her. They loot the food, dump her corpse, and mock her, his past life. This time, he won't let it happen again. First, she must feel the world's cruelty, even if it makes her hate him. She knocks on his door. He snaps, demanding why she's bothering him. She apologizes, having washed his filthy clothes. Her kindness only fuels his rage. He orders her to toss them away and leave. Ashamed, she complies. He thinks, with her attitude, she won't survive long. Still, the hot shower feels amazing. Soon water will be tainted. Moments like this will vanish. He finishes bathing. The store still has food and clean water, but now he needs gear and weapons. He studies his reflection. Feeling youthful again is intoxicating. No backaches, no burning legs. Youth is a gift. The only downside, his abs are gone. He throws open the door and finds her. She's left a suit for him. He yells, "How am I supposed to fight zombies in that outfit?" Centipede stands at the nightclub. He rallies his crew. The nearby convenience store holds food and booze, only temporarily. His plan, wipe out the front zombies, then loot everything. A cute little girl is inside, just another easy target. He orders his men to start the slaughter, clearing the way to rob. Zombies pound the storefront, relentless. Inside, Yibi summons the girl. "Quit the naivety. I have a question. Why is she alone, and where is her family?" She answers that her father left to scavenge and never returned. Yib slams the table in fury. "Are you an idiot? Letting a stranger in? What if I decide to hurt you? How would you stop me?" Trembling, she explains he was wounded, drenched in blood, and she couldn't abandon him. He shouts, "Didn't you see the monsters chasing him? Her temperament would only slow me. Easier to kill her and shed the burden, yet solitude bores me." He snarls. From now on, she obeys his commands. One misstep, and he'll kill her instantly. The nightclub crew advances toward the horde. Well, almost. The zombies surge forward. They charge with reckless bravado. The first man is ripped apart. Confidence shatters. They wonder if these beasts differ from the ones the students slew. Centipede snarls, "Charge now or I'll kill you myself." A desperate thug shouts, "Better die to zombies than by your hand." Centipede yanks his hair and flings him into the swarming horde. His final scream asks why before the monsters devour him. The survivors scramble to finish the nearby dead as more zombies pour in. Centipede sees the swarm is overwhelming. The relentless horde forces them to flee. Back inside the convenience store, silence hangs. The girl serves Yelba a steaming bowl of ramen, made just for him. She also hands him the hot water he requested. He orders her out. Her work is done. Only if he summons her may she re-enter his room. She bows, closes the door, and departs. He whips up the noodles, and devours them at once. Hunger drives him. One bite, a grin, delicious. Outside, Centipede D peers from the store entrance, clinging tight to dodge the zombies below. Yelba steps forward, bottle of steaming water in hand. Centipede snarls, demanding his purpose. Yelba twists off the cap. He drenches his hand, the skin flaring red in an instant. Blisters bloom as Centipede screams, yet he refuses to release. He'd plunge into the horde, pleading for aid while threatening murder. Yaobai scoffs, calling him an idiot. A hand yanks his sleeve. It's the little girl, pleading. "Stop. Let him in, don't hurt him," she urges. Yaobai tenses. He warned her to stay off the stairs. She persists, recalling her father's creed, never hurt another. He studies her briefly. "Aren't you scared he'll burst in and slay you?" Centipede swears he won't, he's only starving. Encircled, he has nowhere left to run. The streets teem with zombies. Yibei clicks his tongue. He'd kick him away and let the horde finish him. His gaze drops to the floor. A box cutter lies on the table. They allow Centipede inside. He thanks the girl with a soft smile. He declares this his domain. Defy him and you die. She finally grasps the weight of her mistake. Inside the nightclub, chaos erupts as survivors barricade the door while zombies pummel it. A bald man curses Centipede for dragging them into this nightmare. The girls scream. The wooden door is on the verge of collapse. The bald man shouts for help, desperately holding the barrier. Yet, as he scans the crowd, thoughts of fleeing flicker. He'd rather watch them die than risk his own survival. Back at the store, a transmission crackles through. Centipede squares off against eBay. He smirks at the girl, calling her cute but foolish if she thinks he'll spare her. Yet, because she opened the door, he offers a twisted bargain: become his slave. He swivels his gaze to eBay. "First, I'll settle the bastard who burned my hand." He vows to make him bleed. eBay remains silent. A box cutter gleams in his fist. The girl begs, desperation in her voice. "Your family runs this store. Chocolate, snacks, enough for everyone." A tense hush falls over the room. She smiles, hopeful they could all share and live in peace. Centipede snarls. He lunges, fury blazing. "You think you're mocking me?" The blade flashes. In a heartbeat, Yibei slashes Centipede's wounded hand. Centipede howls. Yibei flips the cutter to a reverse grip, strikes again. Centipede blocks, yet Yibei targets his throat, undeterred by the size gap. Centipede kicks Yibei in the stomach, sending him sprawling. The girl tumbles down alongside him. Bleeding, Yibei rises and strides toward him. Centipede sneers. "Never have I been this infuriated." A single kick shatters Yibei's ribs. Centipede begins pounding his leg. Agony erupts through his body. "How did you dispatch that zombie so effortlessly?" Centipede demands answers, remaining silent. Yibei retorts, "Then you're dead." The relentless stomping persists, promising Yibei will eventually break. The girl watches, frozen. Yibei allows it, forcing her to glimpse the brutal reality, though the price is steep. He gasps, pleading for a pause, promising an explanation. Centipede snarls, "Move fast, cooperate and I'll make it quick." Yibi spits a spray of blood onto his face. A fatal mistake. Centipede hammers him into the wall. Then he delivers a brutal kick. He stomps down, crushing his jaw with a punch. "Die," he growls. "This lesson's gone too far." The tide suddenly turns. The terrified girl erupts, striking back. He slashes Centipede's neck. Fury erupts. "What do you think you're doing?" He shoves the girl hard. She crashes to the ground. Gripping the box cutter, he snarls, "We're both going to die. Time's up," he roars. Yib drives a stick into Centipede's throat. Centipede collapses. Yib staggers, barely standing. The girl watches the gruesome spectacle. Crimson spreads across the floor. "Did I just kill him?" Yib places a steady hand on her shoulder. "You did what you had to. He was pure evil." Bewildered, she asks why he was so cruel when she only tried to help. He replies, "Centipede isn't dead." Hope flashes across her face. "Then we must rescue him." Yib pushes her aside. He yanks her from the room, calls her shockingly naive, then slams the door. She drives him to the brink. Now that bastard's trashed the place too. He seizes Centipede by the leg and hurls him toward the window. One swift kick. The body plummets into the street like discarded trash. Zombies converge. A macabre banquet. Centipede jolts awake, just in time, to grasp the chaos unfolding. Outside, Yibi mutters, grateful he escaped having his limbs sliced off. A sudden sound snaps his focus. Across the street, a lone figure dangles from a building. He scrambles to evade the horde below, trembling, pleading for mercy. Yibi shouts, "Is anyone else still breathing in there?" The survivor replies, "I'm the last one left." They barred the door, but once it gave, the zombies flooded in and everyone perished. He pleads to be let into the convenience store. Yibi refuses, warning that hesitation will leave him dead on the floor. The survivor glances down, watching Centipede being devoured. He swallows hard. Summoning courage, he leaps to the next ledge. He moves like a parkour master, teetering on a narrow railing, then sprints across it. Yibi watches, almost disappointed the zombies failed to wipe out the nightclub crew. Time drags on. The horde still prowls outside. The window lies shattered. Yib pulls open his bedroom door. The little girl remains inside. "I told you to bathe," he snaps. She glances inward. The corpse has vanished. "Don't stare," he warns. "I'm heading downstairs." She hesitates. Did he manage to escape? He recounts hurling the man out. Only a god could survive. She looks down, heart heavy with sorrow. Why kill him? Even the wicked can change. Ibai slams the door shut above her. "Are you really that clueless after everything? In this apocalypse, he was bound to try killing you." She repeats, "Apocalypse," like he's insane. He says she's wrong, walks away. No point arguing, maybe she should shower again. She refuses to stop talking, takes 2 steps forward, and collapses. He catches her just in time. He hoists her onto the bed, scanning her skin. He searches for any bite marks. Finding none, he assumes it's just a fever. Somewhere in the room must be medicine. No wonder she's been frail from the beginning. He spots a box perched on the wall. Inside, a pink notebook rests atop the meds. He flips it open. It's a donor registry. With each note, the puzzle falls into place. "Yao ing ball?" he whispers. 14. Fighting leukemia. He lifts her shirt just enough. Bandages litter her skin, puncture after puncture. Endless transfusions drive her desperate urge to help. She survived on strangers' kindness, yet the world she vowed to save is gone. He digs into his pocket. The apocalypse essences still pulse inside. He isn't sure they can fix this. Night falls, darkness settling. The streets overflow with zombies, yet an eerie calm persists. Silence blankets the city. At dawn, the dead stand still, eyes fixed on the sunrise as if something commands them. Later, Yeba awakens at the table, chilled. He must have dozed off. He senses a gaze upon him. Yao Yue appears in the doorway. She's already upright. He asks if she feels any better. She pauses, uncertain. Before she can answer, he orders her to brew coffee. He halts her as she spins. "Grab the tools and rations. We're heading out to find your dad." She blinks, disbelief flashing across her face. "He left for supplies," he says. "We can't abandon him." She protests, recalling his warning. "Stay put, be safe." He asks, "How long has he been missing?" "At least 3 days." "What's the usual search time?" "Half a day." "Then think," he says. "Why hasn't he returned?" She snaps that 3 days ago he shouted he was on his way home. Yibei presses for another word. He could have been bitten, trapped, or waiting for rescue. Shouldn't they try? She lowers her head. Her father warned her never to leave. Yibi, irritated, calls her an idiot, ready to save a criminal but not her own father. He makes it clear this isn't a discussion. He could kill her and go alone, but she saved him, so finding her father is repayment. "Stop whining. Grab your things. We're leaving." She bolts down the stairs, nearly losing her footing. Their endless debates wear him down. Beyond, the city lies in shattered ruins. The undead still stare blankly at the sky, louder than any engine. A jeep rumbles down the street behind them. The zombies think they can halt a moving car with their feeble arms. "Good luck with that," he mutters. They seize the hood, only to be tossed aside. Back inside the convenience store, Yabe piles up food, loading their stash. They brace to make a run for it. He shoots a quick glance at Yaoyue. Why are you hiding? Done packing yet? She looks small, gloomy, and wonders what to wear. We're not heading to a party. He drops it. Where are the instant noodles? She hands them over silently. He eats while scanning the store. He plans, once that door opens, he must cut through the horde, find a working car, and pull her inside before she makes a reckless move. That's the real challenge. She's munching on spicy sticks. He snatches one. Still reeling from non-stop scolding, a stranger steps forward. In the next heartbeat, everything erupts inward. Shelves topple, debris flies. Earthquake? Yabe mutters. A car crashes straight into the store. It slams halfway through the doorway. The door bursts open. A bald, chubby soldier in military gear steps out laughing, grateful to have found a convenience store. He kicks a zombie aside. A dead zombie makes a good zombie. He strolls in. His eyes light up at the snacks. He drops to a crouch, licking his lips. Jackpot. The city center was empty, so he checked this deserted block, and it paid off. A gleaming box cutter slices through the chaos. Drop it! Yabe snarls. The last intruder was taken out. I'm not holding back. The rotund soldier reacts in an instant. Snacks flash before Yabe's eyes. Yabe flinches as the man snatches whatever he can and bolts to his car. He slams the door shut. Yabe materializes at the shattered window. You filthy swine, die! The blade inches closer. The man shouts, I surrender! Yaoyue steps in, demanding Yabe stop the killing. The two men stare at her as she stammers an excuse. If he dies, who'll foot the store's repair bill? Yabe studies her while the chubby man trembles. A sly grin spreads across Yabe's face. She's right. He assures the man the car will cover the damage. He orders Yaoyue to grab her bags. They're leaving. She nods in agreement. Then she freezes. The crash has drawn a horde. Zombies pour down the street. Panicked, the chubby man realizes his killings only spawn more zombies. Yaoyue leaps into the vehicle. The doors slam shut. Buckle up! The driver shouts. He floors the accelerator. Zombies cling to the sides as the truck barrels forward, crushing everything in its path. He rips through the streets like an action hero, drifting around corners like a fast and furious stunt. Drive straight. A warning snarls, or I'll slit your throat. The driver retorts. We have to clear the zombies, or we won't get through. Yab brushes him off. Yaoyue, where was your dad heading? Pudong's supermarket, he replies, recalling the last call. The driver grunts. That place is always jammed. Now it's crawling with zombies. Quit whining, Yab snaps. Drive or you'll die out there. They finally break through the horde. The chubby man glances back. If it gets boring, I'll crank up some music. On the open road, the chaos finally eases. A lone zombie lies in the street, a broken branch still clutched in its hand. It lifts an arm as the jeep rolls toward it. The driver doesn't hesitate, crushing it beneath the tires. The driver cranks the music. Candy clatters in his mouth. He mows down everything in his path. He's clearly loving the chaos. Keep it down, you brute. I need a break, he mutters. Relax, the driver replies. This rig's built solid. Yabe lifts his box cutter. You not listening? Silence falls. The driver slams the brakes. I didn't say stop, Yab, he snaps. I said stop the noise. The driver swallows hard, nerves on edge. We're out of gas, he admits. Yabe and Yaoyue erupt in a frustrated shout. He apologizes, realizing there are no stations for miles. He shoves food into his mouth. If he's dying, he'll go out full. Something's out there, he warns. A hulking zombie presses against the window. They're stranded by a park as the horde closes in. Even if the chassis holds, they'll be trapped inside. Yabe spots a machete tucked behind the seat. Zombies batter the windows. The door bursts open, ripped from its hinges. Yabe strides out, unflinched. A zombie lunges. Machete flashes, slicing through. One falls. Yaoyue trembles inside. Yabe grins. Nice edge. Another ghoul shuffles in. For rookies, that's more than enough. A swift slash cuts through. One drops, two more surge forward. He boots a zombie straight in the chest. Pivoting, he slices another down. The driver watches stunned. Even Yaoyue gapes in disbelief as another hulking brute collapses. Yabe taps his blade against the car's metal. He steps out while the driver shakes his head. Stay in there and you'll just die, Yabe warns. Nearby cars linger. Maybe we can siphon fuel. While Yabe hacks the horde, the driver scrambles for fuel. After all that shouting, he finally proves he can handle a car. Yabe orders Yaoyue to stay inside. Danger spikes. Does the driver get any cue? The man hesitates. He says he needs a moment. Too late. Yabe has already dropped another zombie, fearless. He slices another and shouts, Move! The driver recalls fuel canisters in the truck bed, realizing Yabe might be worth keeping. Yabe dispatches another. What did you just say? Yabe asks. The driver stammers, eyes wide with shock. Give us a minute and I'll refill the tank, Yabe offers. Moments later, Yabe leans in. I need your help first, he declares. He flips his palm open, a glowing green sphere hovering inside. These are harvested from zombie brains, collect them as I cut, he explains. The driver's face turns pale. He's never faced anything like this. It's simple. Trust me, Yabe grins. He demonstrates, the pearl pulsing with power. Move fast, got it? The driver winces, disgusted, and refuses to leave the vehicle. Yabe snarls, turn back and you'll get shredded. How can I fight without a blade? Use your fists. Yabe lunges forward, dispatching another zombie. The driver gulps down his fear. He nears the first corpse, then freezes. He bolts back to the jeep. Grabbing a wrench, he mutters a prayer. No time, Yabe snaps. Start gathering. The driver hovers over the corpse, sweat dripping, wondering if it's truly dead. The plump survivor slams his hand onto the body. He claws into the skull, and a tiny green crystal rolls into his palm. Stunned, he mutters, just that? The gem is real, far simpler than he imagined, proof a brain can yield such a stone. Are these valuable? He asks. Yabe snaps. Silence. He muses whether these gems spark the outbreak and decides to pocket a few. Meanwhile, Yabe hacks through another cluster of zombies. After a moment, he calls a halt. That's enough, he declares. Distant corpses aren't worth the effort. This one remains untapped, tougher than expected. He spins back, counting. How many left? The chubby guy grins. This is oddly fun. He scrubs the loot and stores it. Then he refuels the tank. Time to roll. Yabe checks on Yaoyura. Her condition is worsening. He grabs her arm, calling her name. Her skin burns with heat. Fever spikes higher than before. He rifles through her bag. They'd already taken medicine and water. The chubby guy leans in, demanding, what's wrong with her? Shut up, pump the gas. Soon her fever eases a bit. The driver guesses she overheated in the car. Feeling better? Yahibi silences him with a sharp glare. They've already wasted time while he pretended they were out of fuel. Any more lies will get him killed. He quickly apologizes, swearing never to lie again. Yaoyura stirs, waking up. They press onward. After a long stretch of road, the driver glances over, praises Yahibi's blade work, and asks his name. Your turn first, Yahibi says. I'm Yao Hang. I run a workshop in the city. That truck was left here for repairs. It never came back after the apocalypse hit. Alright, see ya. Suddenly, Zhao Heng slams the brakes. The truck skids hard. Yahibi grabs the seat to steady himself. What was that? The road is blocked. I've seen wrecked vehicles burning the whole stretch. The road is completely blocked. Gaoyur still trembles with fear. At least she's finally awake. Yahibi scans the wreckage for a way through. He spots a narrow path toward her father's last known location. She watches in silence, eyes fixed on the debris. There's another route, Zhao Heng calls out. It's longer, but we can make it, he asks. Yes, Yahibi replies. First we need better arms, he says, asking if Zhao Heng knows an electrician or a weapons dealer. Zhao Heng pauses, then nods in agreement. He knows a skilled blacksmith from his hometown. The mention snaps Yahibi's attention. He's probably alive, and even if not, his forge should still hold supplies. That machete he forged proves more metal makes better gear. Worth it, Zhao Heng says, drifting into reminiscence. He sighs, missing the old days. Quiet, Yaoyura murmurs, as Yahibi nods off. They cross a bridge into another district. Zhao Heng steps out and stretches his cramped limbs. Years may have passed, but the place remains unchanged. Yahibi scans the site, growling. It better be worth it. If it isn't, you'll end up buried here. Rule 1. Clear the area before we enter. He eyes the undead, asking, any of these look like your friend? Zhao Heng hesitates, unsure. Then start gathering the pearls, Yahibi says. Hold up, someone shouts from the car. Yura steps forward, I'll help. Yahibi warns Yaoyura. You'll faint or get bitten and slow us down, she replies. I'm fine now, I'll be careful. Zhao Heng flashes a grin, daring the brave to dig while she gathers the loot. Yahibi's tone turns icy. If anyone gets bitten, I'll end them myself. Yura watches, his words sharp as if he'd never hesitate. Yahibi charges forward, slicing through the horde. Zhao Heng smashes skulls and jokes, while Yaoyura stuffs green pearls into a sack. He scoops them up from a nearby building. A pair of binoculars reveal a silent observer. A cigarette-smoking man watches. His eyes flash with irritated darkness. Then another figure steps in, Brother Lu. Lu snaps echo. He doesn't even glance back. Knock next time, he snarls. A rookie outside shivers. What's the deal? Lu asks. 3 are in the blacksmith shop. One guy's mowing down zombies solo. He's a powerhouse, Lu notes. I've already seen them. Why bother him? The rookie stammers. This one's different. Lu ponders. Then he signals. A girl hands him a pack of instant noodles. He flings it toward the rookie. Eat, he orders. Report back properly afterward. The rookie beams, praising Brother Lu's skill. Lu idly brushes the exhausted girl beside him, her eyes hollow. She collapses to her knees. Get the chubby one out of there and rally everyone, Lu commands. Finish the rest. Whoever does will be rewarded. They head back to the shop. Zombies lie defeated. Only one pro remains. Yebe orders Zhao Heng to sweep the perimeter while he scouts the interior. He kicks the door wide open. A bustling blacksmith workshop greets them. He scans the room intently. Anvils, tools, and weapon racks line the space. The forge still blazes. Someone's been here not long ago. Zhao Heng notes the workshop's intact, yet his friend's whereabouts remain a mystery. Grab the pearls and scrap from the cars, Yebe orders. Sharpen your blade, or just take one of these. Zhao Heng points to the polished weapons on the wall, noting they'll be useless in a week. Zhao Heng's eyes widen. He realizes Yabe is forging something new. Move! Yabe snaps. Bring the pearls. Zhao Heng mutters about Yabe's hot temper. Yaoyu asks what she should do. The forge roars, pistons thundering. Mechanics. First skill, construction. Yabe slides a steel tube into place. He hurls the steel tube into the fire, and begins hammering. Zhao Heng watches, impressed. Who taught this youngster blacksmithing? Pour the pearls into the crucible, Yibi orders. A swift glance, then the fire swallows them. The pearls melt, becoming a glowing green liquid. An ethereal aura rises, almost magical. The forge roars as the glow intensifies. Yabe cracks open a bottle. He pours strawberry juice into the molten brew. The molten blend solidifies. He drapes the blade in the glowing alloy. The steel drinks the emerald light. He strikes it once more. The clang reverberates beyond the forge. Brother Lu's crew catches the sound. A trembling rookie freezes as a sharp-jawed grin spreads. The long-haired man declares the true prize is time with Haegwan. A polo-clad figure warns, if Brother Luo wants him dead, there's a reason. Wait for nightfall. When their guard slips, then strike, he advises. Inside, the furnace blazes. Yib continues hammering. The design is sleek, futuristic, and razor-sharp. Jia Heng suspects the kid graduated from a premier engineering school. By 1 p.m., Yib completes the piece. He immediately begins the next. He extracts the first component from the cooling bath. Zhao Heng whistles. Those electric patterns are insane. Yubei smiles. The materials are prepped. Now it's time to prove a mechanic's true power. Yaoyu places a steaming bowl of noodles on the table. She smiles softly, content just to be near him. A wave of safety washes over her. Suddenly, a hand clamps over her mouth. The long-haired intruder drags her away, promising to take her elsewhere. Inside, the blade is almost finished being sharpened. He secures the blade into a mechanical frame and sets it down. Zhao Heng watches, eyes wide. He mutters, I've only seen this kind of tech in movies. Yubei snaps 2 cables together. He flips the switch. Weapon ignites. It thrums, bathing in emerald glow. Even the sputtering generator can't stall it. A second-order blade comes alive. Yib declares, finished. Zhao Heng demands one for himself. Yaoyu's scream shatters the air. They sprint outside, straight into Brother Lu's gang. Yaoyu dangles lifeless in the thug's grip. Yib's expression hardens. The bold leader demands he drop the weapon, or the girl dies. Yib lifts his arm defiantly. A single slash erupts. A shockwave ripples across the ground. The leader splits in two. Another henchman makes a break for it. Think you can run? Yib snarls. He delivers a second, decisive slash. Metal shards crumble like paper, sparking panic. The crowd erupts in flight. Behind them, Yib has already claimed his first headless knight. A thug roars, drop the girl if you want to live. The kidnapper snarls, stay put or Brother Lu will finish us. A bolt of lightning arcs, flashing across their faces. Yib strides forward, unflinching. Zhao Heng shouts, another horde's coming from behind. The undead surge faster than before. Something has twisted them. Zhao Heng freezes, eyes wide. Yib clamps the blade, ready. He charges forward. Green arcs blaze, zombies topple in succession. Zhao Heng watches stunned, as Yib slashes through the horde like a storm. Yet the 2 kidnappers sprint toward the building. They're heading for that building, Zhao Heng shouts. Yib points. Stop hesitating. Grab the car and chase. Zhao Heng darts into the jeep, roaring away as Yib continues to carve the swarm. Now it's Zhao Heng's turn to rescue her. The escaping thugs hear a roar as Zhao Heng charges. They scramble onto a bus barricading their hideout. He slams the door wide open. The bus blocks the entrance. He steps out, momentarily indecisive. Inside, more goons peer out from the windows. Only a rotund guard? A breeze. They alight, ordering him to abandon the vehicle, or they'll burn everyone inside to ash. Zhao Heng snorts. Come at me. A cap-clad thug lunges, bragging he's killed more than Dao's counted chickens. The bold taunt fuels Zhao's resolve. You're begging for death. A green crescent flashes past him. The attacker splits cleanly in two. The bus behind bursts open. Zhao Heng blinks, momentarily stunned. Yib is already there. The zombies cleared. Move! Yib commands. We're saving her. He swings again. The bus cleaves cleanly in two. Beyond the pillars, more foes ready their charge. Yib strides into the breach. A thug hurls a knife. He anticipates it, snatching it midair. He counters with a swift slash. Another enemy collapses. From behind a stack of crates, a Molotov arcs forward. Yib sidesteps it with ghost-like ease. He twirls, unleashing a green crescent slash. A gun cracks open the air. The bullet whistles past, missing by inches. He dodges like Neo in bullet time. Brother Luo hovers above, eyes wide with awe. Yib's a genius, he declares. He offers a drink, asks the secret to his strength, but Yib lifts his blade instead. Luo points toward the sleeping Yoyue. Stay still, she's peaceful now, but one breath could end her, he warns. I'm being courteous to Yib, cut the act, he retorts. They could even test if a bullet outruns a blade. Yib watches him, silent. Zhao Heng whispers, what's the plan? We have guns. Yib flashes a grin. He agrees to talk, revealing a massive project that needs manpower. If Luo rallies the crew, he'll grant them a chance. Luo narrows his eyes, questioning if he truly wants to address everyone. Fine, they'll receive him. Zhao Heng mutters it's madness, facing them all alone, even armed. If you're frightened, you can walk away, Yib says calmly. Zhao Heng trembles, but replies, if Yib commands, I'll stay. He storms in alone, unflinching and without regret. Yib deems him a nuisance. The henchmen escort him inside. He soon stands in a room packed with Luo's entire crew. Luo greets him. He declares that every healthy person within 15 kilometers has gathered, and he leads them. What's your name? Luo demands. What do you need from us? He asks. Abe replies, recalling Luo Shang. He asks if he knows how the disaster began. Luo freezes, questioning how Yebe knows him, and the whole backstory. Yebe praises Luo for spotting the signs early and stockpiling resources. He hints at a looming plan, the Nether Dragon Association. Luo's confusion deepens. That name was known only to a select few. How does this kid know? Yebe produces a glowing green pearl, guessing Luo's true interest lies there. Impatient, Luo demands, enough games, just tell me. Yebe pauses, then lays out the possibilities. It could have begun with a bird-borne virus from overseas, or a weapon-driven population control, or perhaps an alien meteor introduced something unknown. He realizes Luo's heard every theory. That's why he remains silent. That's why he moved the city's populace to this remote outpost. Luo nods, aware of the virus more than most. He fishes 2 glowing pearls from his pocket. He admits he still can't explain why they embed in zombie brains yet. Suspects they're tied to the Grand Project's directives. Yebe confirms, but says he'll need help. Luo consents, on one condition. He must see the sword first. Yebe begins to raise it. Luo warns him about the girl at his side. Nobody wants this to end in tragedy. Yebe freezes for a heartbeat. Then he slides the object across the table. A henchman snatches it, staggering under its weight. He gasps, "It's impossibly heavy!" Luo sneers, stepping forward to test it. He can't budge it, a dry laugh escaping his lips. "Every day brings a new shock," he mutters. "Speak," Luo demands. Yebe finally reveals the truth. Once infected, a dark pearl forms in the brain, growing brighter as it drains a zombie's energy. That harvested power melds with humans, forging weapons far beyond ordinary steel. Luo leans in, curiosity blazing. "If it melds with us, can we eat the pearls and keep growing stronger?" Yib warns it's possible to ingest them, but most become zombies. Luo presses, "What about the few who survive?" "Watch," Yabi declares. "I'll show you." Step 1, Activation. He plugs in 2 power cables. A wave of green energy floods the room. Generators spark, then burst into flame. The lights go out. "What did you just do? What are you waiting for?" Luo shouts, his voice echoing into the next episode. "Same breath, you fool," he snarls. He snatches the sword and lunges forward. The first swing sails past its target. Luo retaliates with a swift blast. Yib darts around the incoming fire. He clamps his fist tighter on the hilt. The blade slices cleanly through his opponent. The trembling leader finally grasps his fatal miscalculation. "The Nether Dragon gang ends here," Yib declares coldly. "In another life you'd forge weapons, enslave, become infamous. This time you won't." Another slash. More bodies crumble. The floor lies in ruins. Blood stains everything. Yebe glances at the unconscious Yao Yur. Relief softens his expression. He gently brushes her hair back, sparing her the cruelty. A silhouette emerges in the doorway. Zhao Heng, the coward who fled earlier. He steps forward, flashlight trembling. "You wiped them all out?" "Yes." Yabai snatches a weapon from the ground, objective complete. "Hold on," Zhao Heng demands. "We came all this way for the prize, not for you." Yebe warns that weapons now evolve, becoming deadlier than ever. Zhao Heng wonders what they'll become. He even applauds Yebe's trick, tossing pearls into the generator to unleash chaos. Ingenious. A bottle suddenly clatters on the floor. They spin. A girl lies crumpled nearby. She pleads, begging them not to kill her. Zhao Heng blurts out, demanding why a damsel is in peril. She reveals Luke Shang captured her, condemning her to daily slavery and insisting she's innocent of the gang. Yabe asks if she knows where Luke hid his remaining supplies. She nods, offering to lead them. As they walk, Zhao Heng asks her origin. She replies, Eastern City. They stop at an elevator. The storage is on the 6th floor. Yabe orders Zhao Heng to guard you while he checks the storage with the girl. Back amid the wreckage, a fresh wound bleeds. A lackey scrambles through the fallen corpses. He stares at Luke Shang, bisected in 2. A glint catches his eye, a lone pearl. Yabe's words echo. It's blood. Black metal energy pulses. Luke's legend says consuming it grants godhood. With nothing left, he gulps the pearl down. His pupils constrict sharply. Veins erupt along his neck. He convulses as thunder rattles the sky. He jolts awake. Rain hammers the windows. She demands to know where they are. Zhao Heng calmly tells her to hold steady. She reveals she was abducted, until they rescued her. Yabe returns, sees her awake. "Find anything?" Zhao Heng asks. "Yes," she replies. "Relocating the cache won't be possible until tomorrow, and the girl has already fled," Yabe assures. "We'll secure it once we reach the storage." The rain feels oddly ominous. He dismisses it. "Forget her," he mutters. They all desperately need rest. When the storm clears, the streets will overflow with zombies. Elsewhere, a new danger stirs. The girl shivers under the shower's hush. A man's voice booms beyond the door. She's unmutated, trapped in his house, nothing comes free. He rattles the knob, warning she offers only her body. She lets out a desperate scream. He chuckles. In this rain, no one hears you. Suddenly, the door swings ajar on its own. He freezes, eyes wide. He steps forward, demanding answers. The man outside the shower makes a fatal error. A scream pierces the air as the girl peeks out. He's slammed into the wall by a hulking beast. She lets out a terrified shriek. The monster looms, eyes locked on her. It extends a claw. She recoils, pleading for it to stay back. The creature hesitates. It sees its own reflection in the mirror. Then it crumples to the floor. Clutching his head, he cries, "I'm not a monster!" He slams the floor, demanding why he turned this way. The startled blonde asks, "Who are you?" He reveals he was shot, then swallowed a zombie pearl, mutating his body. She learns that eating black metal pearls transforms people. He says Yabe gave him a pearl ripped from a monster's skull. Her eyes sharpen. Yabe's name hits home. Boldly, she demands, "Where are you now?" The creature replies Yabe just arrived in the southern city, and slaughtered everyone inside a building. Blonde Ruoshi, her smile icy, vows to end Yabe. The creature shakes its head. Yabe is unbeatable. Ruoshi blames him for her cursed state. As foes, she studies the monster intently. If he can kill a man in an instant, he's powerful too. He admits his strength is wild, barely controllable. He then asks, "Are you scared of me?" Ruoshi erupts in a manic laugh. She runs a hand down his arm. "You're strong," she whispers. "Help me. Kill Yabe, and I'll grant any wish you crave." She remains unfazed, even as the monster towers over her. He hoists her with a grin, promising to help slay the beast. A sly smile spreads. Her scheme is in motion. Yet his frame shivers, betraying unease. Something's terribly amiss. He collapses, screaming, knees hitting the ground. A lone knight strides past, indifferent. Dawn breaks, casting pale light. Yabe readies himself. Inside the warehouse they uncover more instant noodles, cigarettes, and drinks. He slings the infernal blade across his back. Gear packed, they set off. They rush down the stairs. Zhao Heng freezes in shock. The roof lies flattened, as if a meteor slammed down. Panic wells up. He can't even pry it open. Yabe inspects the wreckage. It's far beyond a simple storm's wrath. With a single slash, the roof tears away cleanly. The truck transforms into a sleek convertible, mirrors flawless as if factory-born. They pile into the makeshift convertible. The engine roars to life. "Looks like we're heading after her father now." Zhao Heng nods, confirming. The vehicle lurches forward. Zhao Heng smirks. "Convertible Apocalypse Edition, nice." Suddenly, zombies spot them. They veer to the side. A girl and a handful of students scramble and dash away from the oncoming horde. Yabe spots his former classmates, miraculously alive. They scream for help. A clumsy girl trips. Zombies close in. A green crescent arcs through the air. The horde shatters. The students stare, stunned. Yabe strides toward them. He grins. "Didn't think I'd see you again." They rush, thanks, convinced they were dead. The blonde stares, baffled. "How did you become this strong?" Yabe brushes it off. "Where are you headed?" They recount fleeing school, hearing of an island camp. Many perished en route. One spots the car, pleading, "Can we hitch a ride?" A starving girl steps forward. "Got any food?" Yao Yura watches the desperation, while Zhao Heng mutters they care more about the car. Yabe lifts a hand, silencing them. He warns the tank is low on gas. He can't go far, and a favor is owed before any lift. The former classmates nod, ready to repay any debt. Yabe smiles. Zhao outlines the rules. Zhao springs into action. Yabe strides to the remaining zombies. "I'll clear them. You handle the cleanup." The students blink in confusion. He hands out tools, demonstrating how to extract the pearls. It's a breeze. A girl collapses instantly. Yaoyuer calmly notes the skulls are soft, easy to pull out. The others stare, amazed by her unflinching steadiness. Zhao keeps handing out tools, warning them not to get bitten. The blonde whispers, "Why does the green dancer crave those pearls so much?" Yao Shubei slashes zombies while the others gather the loot. 2 hours pass, the sky darkening into dusk. The sack swells, packed to the brim with pearls. Yao Shubei commands them to hand out food. Zhao Heng snaps, "Don't give away supplies without my word." The students beg. The chubby survivor clings to every crumb. Then something crashes onto the car. A metallic crunch rattles the frame. A fully mutated monster stands, looming over them. The same one from earlier. Zhao Shubei spots it instantly. An evolved ability user. "Run!" he shouts. A slash nearly tears his arm off. He leaps back, unleashing a green crescent. The monster dodges. It's not mindless, it's thinking. A slow, mocking clap echoes. Ruashi steps forward, the low-cut queen herself. Yabe's eyes darken. The students stare, mouths agape at the class rep. Ruashi declares she'll do anything, just to face Yibai-D. She commands the monster to kill him. Yibai-D can't understand why the creature now sides with her. The beast charges. He has no choice but to fight. Yaoyuer calls his name. A fireball erupts. It slams between them. Another figure stands on the rooftop. A towering, flame-crowned beast with flowing hair. The scene shifts to a lone vessel bobbing on the waves. On deck, a man puffs a cigar. He mutters, "Out here life's simple, zombies can't fly." They plot to raid nearby boats for supplies. Suddenly, one of the ships erupts in fire. The fiery-haired monster crashes onto the deck. The crew shrieks in terror, then vanish without a trace. Back on the street, the flames still roar. A flame-wreathed creature perches on the rooftop. Its gaze pierces the streets below. Yibai D and the mutated beast lift their eyes in alarm. An even stronger evolved user, wielding a harsher element, appears. Ruoshi can't make sense of the sudden shift. She asks the monster, "Is that thing his ally?" and receives only silence. The fiery figure launches itself forward. It clamps a crushing hand around his throat. Hostility radiates from every movement. He struggles to plead, searching for a sliver of reason. She drives a foot into his gut, then rockets him into a car, unleashing a burst of flame. Xiaoheng screams as the vehicle and their food ignite. "Forget the car, run!" "Yeah, bye," he shouts. He snatches Yao Yue and bolts. Ruoshi screams for her beast to slay Yi Bai. The monster strains, the battle slipping from its grasp. Suddenly, the flame-wreathed beast hurls a fireball at Yao Yue. The ground erupts, sending everyone scattering. "You're lying, but..." Yi Bai drags her to safety at the last second. A wall of fire erupts, cutting off their enemies. "Move!" Yi Bai shouts. "Stop staring! Where are you?" "There!" Xiaoheng cries. Yi Bai spots a garage entrance across the street. He sprints toward it yelling, "Follow me!" Behind them, Reese watches. Huaxi's monster confronts the flame creature again. He pleads, "Don't fight." "Did she also consume the black metal energy?" she whispers. "Black pearl." The flame creature suddenly grabs her head and collapses. "I didn't want it," she says. "They tied me down and forced the pearl down my throat. Now I want them dead. Whoever kills them will claim the ashes." Huaxi's monster nods, compelled. He understands. Huaxi cuts them off. "Enough, Yabai's escaping." Arms crossed, she taunts, "How can we avenge them if he gets away?" The monster assures her he can still track Yabai's trail. The flame creature asks, "Why does Yabai matter so much?" The black monster replies, "He knows about the pearls, maybe even how to make them human again." The flame creature falters. If a way back exists, she'll side with them. Yabai and his allies dash down the avenue. A speeding car erupts in a blast, sealing the road. The monster crashes down nearby, declaring the battle's far from over. He knows Yabai grasps the cursed pearl. Time to negotiate. Yabai realizes escape is impossible. He orders Zhao Heng to grab Yao Yue and flee, buying him precious seconds. They round the corner, only to find the flame creature blocking the path. Surrounded, Zhao Heng whispers. Ruoshi perches cross-legged on a car, laughing. "No escape." Yabai snarls, fed up with her. He orders his allies to stand down and handle it alone. The black monster charges forward. "Yeah, goodbye, Dodgers." He draws a Glock and squeezes the trigger. The shot strikes Ruoshi's shoulder. A blood-curdling scream erupts. The monster freezes mid-step. Mistaking Yabai's aim, another bullet slams into Ruoshi's stomach. The monster leaps, shielding her just in time. Yabai follows with a swift green slash. He absorbs the blow meant for her. The flame creature strikes from behind, igniting a blazing streak. Yabai rolls to safety. A firestorm hurtles at him, but he parries it with his blade. Yao Yue and Zhao Heng watch, powerless. Yao Yue draws a hatchet from her bag. She hurls it. It ricochets off the flame creature's skull, ineffective. The beast pivots. Zhao Heng panics. The distraction creates a split-second opening for Yabai. Almost. But his true aim is the pipe overhead. One strike shatters the pipe, flooding water onto the flames as steam erupts. Yabai lunges, slashing the beast. The flame beast snarls. She lets out a scream. He barely grazes her foot. She reels, then backs away. Yabai squares off with the black monster once more. "You'll pay for this," the monster snarls. Both monsters stagger back, bloodied. They vanish into the shadows. Yabai stands alone, collapsing to one knee. Exhausted, Yao Yue lunges to his side. "Is he injured?" "No, just relieved." He sighs, grateful they survived 2 ability users. Xiao Hong asks, "Where did those monsters come from?" He replies, "From the pauses." He explains, when humans consume pearls, most become zombies. Only 1 in 10,000 evolve into ability users. An even rarer few keep their minds intact. Xiao Hong demands, "How do you know all this?" He vows to explain later. For now they must decide their next move, without a car. And without food, Yib scowls. The apocalypse is speeding up like never before. Before it worsens, he must forge a stronger weapon. Outside, rain hammered down again. To make matters worse, the car lay wrecked. Zhao Heng wept, pleading they salvage any supplies. Worst of all, the monsters piled every car in front of the garage, sealing their escape. He gave them his only coat, the soul shield against the rain. He turned to Yuar, demanding an explanation. She replied she'd been here before. Her father's old friend lived nearby. She pointed toward a mountain. Following it would lead to his house. The leader demanded to know who she was and if he'd survived. She replied he was odd but decent, at least she hoped. His fortified home, bristling with computers and stocked with food, seemed secure. The leader asked if the place housed a cyber cafe. Our boy guessed that, since he was her father's friend, his dad might be there, worth a look. Yet the zombie horde surged up behind them again. Yabe pledged to clear a path, urging them to stay right behind. Meanwhile, the other massive monster shredded the undead. He lunged at one, ripping out its pearl. That should be enough, he declared. He vaulted onto the rooftop. The fire monster girl lurked inside the house, escaping the rain. He burst in from outside. She shouted for Ruchi, who was on the brink of death. He announced he'd brought pearls. She ordered him to hand them over immediately. But the monster hesitated, asking if she was sure she wanted to eat it. She demanded he give it to her and get out of the room. The hulking monster was roasted. Foolishly, he still revered her. The fire girl asked if she'd eaten it, and he noted her hesitation. Her friend warned she'd balk, recalling the monstrous change after one was consumed. The big monster insisted he only wanted to keep her alive. The fire girl cauterized her wounds, knowing she'd die without proper care. The other realized her only hope lay in eating it. She argued that consuming it would let her mutate, giving them another ally. Together they'd unleash vengeance, killing anyone who stood in their way. The big monster cautioned about powerful foes like Eve, reminding that her arms still hadn't regenerated. The monster girl noted how odd his weapon was, able to deflect even her flames. The massive dark-skinned monster proposed kidnapping him to force a confession about the pearls. She then introduced herself, Jobo. He replied, naming himself Wangshin. Meanwhile, our friends regrouped. Another creature fell. Rain couldn't slow it for a heartbeat, but our boy was growing exhausted. Jo Hong saw this and urged them to find shelter. He reassured him and asked Jeva for their location. She gestured toward a bridge, promising the mountain beyond once they crossed. Ahead, the tunnel was flooded, its depths ominous. Their companion noticed the passage completely blocked. Spotting a plank, he urged Juer onto it, and suggested they push it forward. The trio forged ahead into the water-filled tunnel. Jo Hong shivered, fearing undead lurkers beneath the surface. Yubei stayed silent while Juer shouted for him. The exhausted man struggled to stay awake. He collapsed, the tiny raft dragging him down. He plunged straight into the crystal-clear water. Meanwhile, the monsters. They realized the rain still poured unabated. Wan Xing retreated to the chamber to confront Rushi. Arriving, he saw her bathed in ominous purple energy. He demanded an explanation and she screamed, pounding his chest in fury. Jobu burst in, asking why the shouting. A black aura erupted, engulfing the entire house. Suddenly, we were thrust into a past life, that of our dear Yobi. He emerged from the water, and Rushi asked where his mechanical crew had hidden. She seethed with rage as he remained silent. He snapped back. Go to hell. She branded him arrogant, vowing retribution. She shoved him back into the water. Hours later he awoke in the present. He found himself in a cramped room. Yober was still perched on his leg. She stirred, half asleep. Her eyes lit up when she saw he was conscious. Thrilled, she exclaimed his arrival. He asked where they were. Just then, the towering brute swaggered in, mocking his delayed awakening. Yobai scowled. Annoyed, the brute lingered, and declared he'd clearly been the one to bring him here. He demanded to know how they hauled him up the steep slope amid that relentless rain. A silver-haired stranger cut in, insisting he wanted the same answer. How could a kid, a giant, and a child survive zombie-infested streets? Year's eyes lit up as he shouted, Grandpa Zhang! He revealed Zhao Ring rescued him from the water, then stalled, unsure what to do next. Fortunately, he'd been monitoring everything on camera. He raced in, pulled the car over, and whisked them all to safety. Yao Bei pressed. Did you see the whole thing? The old man confirmed he'd seen it, noting Yao Bei sliced zombies like cucumbers, wielding an incredible weapon and demanding to know its source. Our boy rose, refused to answer, and ordered the weapon back at once. He tried to threaten the elder, but his legs gave out, collapsing to his knees in exhaustion. The old man warned that the sword seemed to sap its wielder's energy. He apologized for not introducing himself. I'm Zhang, call me Professor Zhang. This is my lab, where I study the zombie virus. Yao Bei's eyes widened at the name. Suddenly he realized, Zhang was the first researcher to name the black energy metal pearls. To a futuristic mechanic, Zhang was nothing short of a genius. Our boy hesitantly asked, Are you really Professor Zhang? Flustered, the old man admitted, Professor was just a flattering title. In truth, he was a tinkerer eager to study anything that could save humanity. Yao Bei thought that if he truly was Professor Zhang, the research might be worth it. He folded his arms and offered an even more intriguing subject. A live zombie. Downstairs, the old man demonstrated the specimen. He placed the weapon on the table, explaining he'd only examined it, nothing beyond that. When our boy reached for it, John lunged, claiming he'd nearly shattered his back lifting it. Our boy scanned the lab, awe-striking him at its sheer brilliance. With a workshop like this, they could forge even deadlier weapons. Zhang asked if our boy forged it himself. He nodded in confirmation. Excited, Zhang said he'd love to watch him craft another. Our boy warned the process was a secret. Zhang retorted it was bullying. He offered to consider it if they were well fed for a few days. Zhang's monitor had already logged data on both of them for ages. In this apocalypse, there's not a single day of rest. He even pities the zombies, forever trudging with soggy feet. Inside the basement, you're watching the surveillance cameras. Zhang returned with coffee, smiling that she was there. She vowed she was doing everything possible to help. Zhang praised her vigilance for survivors, then grimly noted there was still no word on her father. She insisted her father and Professor Zhang were good men, so she trusted he'd be fine. Zhang stepped forward, questioning whether her two companions were truly trustworthy. The student's mastery of advanced tech at such a young age felt anything but ordinary. His eyes held the cold stare Zhang had only seen in killers. The hulking man appeared ordinary, yet Zhang sensed hidden secrets. Suddenly, the big man intervened, ordering Zhang to stop the accusations. To him, Zhang was the odd one, living alone in such a massive facility. A rooftop helipad, rows of cars, years' worth of fuel, and towering solar panels surrounded them, and the stockpiles of food were endless. The old man roared that the big guy was clueless. He'd sensed the apocalypse long before, so he'd been prepping. Yet this intruder lived rent-free, feasted, and still spat insults. The old man declared his mission was humanity's salvation. They clashed, and you ordered them to stand down. In that instant, the big guy took a blow to the nape. Our boy commanded, "Don't move." A trickle of blood spurted out. Zhao Heng demanded, "What's the purpose of this?" He replied, "The zombie's mutation is about to trigger. Time's running out." A greater catastrophe loomed, demanding immediate preparation. The old man's skin turned to ice at the thought of a zombie mutation. Outside, the earlier friends still kept watch over the horde. He realized he'd almost forgotten those survivors existed. He crouched, announcing the perimeter was sealed. No escape. One complained the rain had flooded the road, blocking any exit. Panic set in as Zhao Zi collapsed, leaving them clueless. The blonde declared Yubei was missing and supplies were exhausted. Death was imminent, yet the blonde hinted a single escape still remained. He produced a handful of pearls, unveiling their last hope. The others recalled snatching the pearls straight from the heads. The blonde confessed he'd hidden a few out of sheer curiosity. He remembered the monsters claiming they fed on those gems. A friend asked, "Are you seriously planning to eat that pill?" Suddenly someone pointed aside. "What's that over there?" Purple smoke spiraled up from the roof of a nearby building. The blonde frowned, baffled by the tornado of smoke looming above. Back at Zhang's compound, the eccentric mechanic remained buried in his work. He'd been holed up there for days, oblivious to his own isolation. No one could explain why he'd locked himself away for so long. Zhang guessed he was forging gear to battle zombies, fearing more would mutate into black-spined beasts or fire-born monsters. Jiang warned that if that happened, everyone would perish. They had no weapons. The old man insisted he only wanted a shelter, not a battlefield. Why would weapons be needed? Suddenly, Yua sprinted in, shouting for them. She claimed she'd spotted her father on a security feed. The trio bolted outside as he demanded the location. She typed "East Entrance" into the computer. She'd already saved the footage and urged him to watch. The video showed her father drenched in zombie gore, disappearing into the throng. The old man noted his gait suggested he hadn't turned into a zombie. She realized her father slipped away amid the chaos, hidden in disguise. The hulking survivor scoffed, calling it insane. Her father had actually survived. The old man noted that if zombies weren't attacking because of scent, it deserved study. When asked about their next move, Jiang hesitated. He complained about the terrible weather and Joubert's reluctance to leave. Zhao Heng urged her to confront Yeo Bei himself. Perhaps he'd created something remarkable. He flatly refused. Still unfinished, he warned that rushing him was pointless. He told her only to bother him when they brought food. The big guy said he was overdoing it, and should at least try to comfort her. Our boy questioned why the big guy hadn't rescued her father himself. The big guy didn't understand until he saw what our boy had crafted, a gun and a blade. Yobar claimed he'd infused them with his blood, making them usable for the big guy. The big guy hesitated, then lifted them effortlessly, far easier than before. Yobar explained the crystal-etched weapons could read thoughts, but warned that, like his light blades, misuse would drain their power. Zhang Heng brightened, declaring he'd documented everything. He inquired about the gun he'd found, and our boy affirmed its presence. To fire, it required charging. The blasts were devastating, but he had to aim precisely and conserve shots. Zhao Heng's eyes widened as he declared, "It looks like a laser cannon." He could barely contain his excitement to fire it. He sprinted out of the base into the pouring rain. Raising it skyward, he unleashed a bolt. The laser shot surged straight upward. He shouted, "Unbelievable!" over the crackling beam. He then drew the crystal blade and swung. "Now I wield the same power as Yeri Bei," he boasted. The old man erupted in fury, condemning the big guy's reckless experiments. Zhao Heng, exhilarated, proclaimed himself invincible. He tugged on his boots and raincoat, declaring he'd slay any zombie that crossed his path. He stared into the lens, assuring Euler he'd bring her father back whole. She stayed uneasy. The old man warned they could only watch his confidence fade. With a headset, Zhao Heng took his orders. The old man sent him east, toward the mountain's blind spot, demanding caution. Zhao Heng snapped, "Shut up, I've got this." He followed the path and soon, a horde of zombies surged ahead. The monsters closed in. He grinned, declaring it time to test his friend's gift. He unleashed the iconic green beam. Slashing, he cleaved them in half. He shouted, "I'm unstoppable, fearless now!" Then he spotted something odd off to the side. Someone else had also seen the strange purple vortex. He finished off a few more zombies. He asked if anyone in the room had seen it too. The rain intensified as a purple tornado swirled eastward. The old man warned the cameras missed it, but detectors logged near level 6 winds, too dangerous to linger, so they must rush back indoors. Zhao Heng apologized to Yue, admitting he couldn't match the god's power. Old man Zhang urged Yue to stay calm, promising her father would find safety. Zhao Heng arrived at the gate. Alarms suddenly erupted. The old man sprang up, racing to investigate. He ordered everyone to stay calm, explaining he'd only retrieved a zombie. Apparently Yeo Bei had instructed him to bring one back. Thrilled the undead was still alive, he announced, asked them to wait and sprinted away, promising a quick return. The old man, equally thrilled, declared, "It's still alive! Alive is generous for that thing!" He cheered the hulking ally, whose excitement surged. Yalvers smiled, relieved by their improving camaraderie. Meanwhile, Yeo Bei busied himself in the workshop. The youngster had already completed the arm's mechanics. Rain hammered down, relentless, until the sun finally pierced the gloom. In this damned apocalypse. As always, sunlight drove the zombies into a frenzy. Their frenzy twisted them, sparking grotesque mutations. Suddenly, they erupted crimson. Zombies vaulted onto rooftops. A lone girl beamed, delighted by the sunrise, until a massive horde emerged. It crashed into her world face to face. Her father's blood ran cold at her scream, and he sprinted toward the horror. The entire family was devoured. The undead had truly evolved. Now they leapt. They shattered doors, storming into homes. No refuge remained within the building. The schoolboys scattered in panic. One was nearly seized when a zombie was pierced in the neck. Then another took a crushing blow to the head. The albino emerged. He snatched the pill and vanished. He glanced at his comrades. They instantly spotted Finn, the blonde eyeing the prize. The view cut to the street, where a horde of zombies marched in formation. Rowaxi perched atop the rooftop, flanked by her 2 zombies. Jobo marveled at their eerie precision. She let out a sharp laugh. After days of torment, she demanded proof they'd located Jiabei. Wangxin claimed he was holed up in a mountain lab-like house, an easy target. Rowaxi scoffed. That would be boring. She vowed he'd learn the true mastermind behind his death. First, she'd let despair close around him. Meanwhile, at the house, Zhao Heng and Yu stood ready. Just as they turned to leave, an alarm screamed. Zhao Heng demanded, "What's happening?" The old man warned, "Don't step outside. Something massive is coming." Zombies were massing in the city, an eerie sight. Worse, they were heading straight for us. Zhao Heng trembled, asking for a count. "At least 1,000, the old man replied. The hulking man frowned. "Are we the last survivors here?" "I don't know, but you must inform Yi Bei," the old man said. The big man sprinted, pounding on the door. He shouted, "Over 1,000 zombies are on their way." He said the professor had already warned him. The big guy's eyes sparked. Was he ready to wipe them out? He admitted he wasn't ready at all. That erased his grin. How could he possibly handle this? Yi urged them to act fast and master the crisis. His research was unfinished, but if the stranger was Professor Zhang, together they'd solve it. The big guy scoffed. It made no sense. Yib stayed silent, absorbed in his work, so the big guy turned and left. Realizing he could only rely on himself, he climbed the tower. He glanced down. A knot tightened in his gut. The horde already hammered at the door. He knew no lab wall could stop that mass. He bolted for the car, refusing to let them crowd it. The old man panicked, demanding his plan. The big guy ordered the gate opened. He had a gamble, and if it failed, everyone must run. "Yao!" he screamed, but in an instant he was outside. He hurled himself into the swarm. He drew his gun, unleashing a laser blast. The first wave fell instantly. Thrilled, he let the laser rip. No aim needed against the endless horde. He kept firing relentlessly. The zombies shattered in a spray of gore. From afar, Rijiaxi observed the carnage. That treacherous girl was a lethal villain. Wang Xing, atop the tower, marveled at Zhao Heng's weapon. Rijiaxi cared about only one thing: how long the survivors could hold out. Zhao Heng rained fire on the undead, blasting them apart. Yet each kill barely dented the endless swarm. The horde kept pouring in. Suddenly a fireball struck, crashing into the ground beneath the car's tire. The judge and the old man shrieked in terror. The vehicle lurched, nearly flipping. Zhao Heng dove for the door, only to face a flaming zombie blocking his exit. Fury boiled. That treacherous girl had unleashed a covert assault. Zhao Heng fired, shouting he wasn't afraid any longer. She twisted, slipping past his shot. Another fireball roared overhead. Zhao Heng vaulted, dodging a second blast. He twisted midair, matrixing his weapon. He fired back, driving the creature to flee. "Coward!" he growled, demanding she return. Now surrounded, he steadied his gun. He unleashed a rapid volley. Grandpa Zhang bellowed, "Return immediately!" Zhao Heng sprinted, knowing the trap was inevitable. Suddenly, Wang Xing descended. With the sky above, escape was impossible. Yet the giant darted, dodging once more. He slammed onto his side, barely grazing his target. He unsheathed his blade, nearly delivering a second slash. Impressive. The two clashed face to face. Wang Xing marveled at the giant's agility, outpacing even Yebe. He brandished his blade, snarling, "Die, Zhao Hang!" But the creature bolted away. That bald behemoth sent everyone scattering. High above, Rocher watched from the tower. She appears up to no good. The previously motionless zombies suddenly surged toward him. Zhao Hang froze, baffled by their sudden charge. Yet he still wielded Yi's forged sword, summoning the green crown. He unleashed a crescent slash, but the horde closed in too fast. Too late to slay them, he bolted. "What the?" Zombies hurled straight at him. He stared, baffled by the skyborn corpses. Each one landed inches from his feet. It had to be Wang Xing. Practicing his zombie throwing art, he snatched another and flung it toward Zhao Heng. Zhao Heng burned a bullet to shred it midair. He sprinted on, pleading for rescue. Another hurled zombie struck, ending him. It coiled its leg around him in a lethal grip. It lunged for a bite. Zhao Heng intervened, slashing it clean. He crashed to the ground hard. There was no time to rise. His sole chance, fire a shot. A green flash ignited. An energy wave surged forward, engulfing everything ahead. A second cannon blast ripped through the chaos. Wang Shang and his companions stared in disbelief. They struggled to comprehend the unfolding mayhem. Beyond the zombie swarm, bright flares surged skyward. A fresh volley erupted, then a colossal punch slammed like a transformer. Suddenly, our hero transformed into an Optimus Prime-like titan. He brandished mechanical claws and reinforced limbs, battle-ready. Wang Shang ignited, shouting that his moment had finally arrived. The elder cheered, hailing the kid as extraordinary. Even the towering brute was awed by the armor the boy forged in days. Yebi warned him to stay sharp. The enemy was closing in. He ordered the right flank cleared of zombies while he held the left until the boss emerged. "With you here, Wang Shang, victory's guaranteed," he declared. He dove back into the barrage. Yebi scanned the battlefield, firing a booster kick. The kid launched skyward, his systems igniting. His massive Optimus Prime arm unfurled, crushing everything in its path. Power surged through him, beyond belief. The towering foe could only mutter that he'd become far too strong. Even after slaying hordes, they'd harvest enough pearls to forge new weapons. Fueled by rage, he charged back to cut down the remaining foes. Roashi, still perched in the distance, kept a cold watch. Wan Shang, nervous, warned that their new power still couldn't close the gap. She snapped, "That boy thinks armor makes him invincible," refusing to let him off the hook. Another massive fist crashed down, pulverizing swarms of zombies. A laser burst forward, while the old man stared at the screen, stunned. He marveled that the boy's exoskeleton shouldn't exist in this age, baffled how Ibai forged it from discarded metal. Yubei then disclosed the secret. The metal was harvested from zombie brains. The elder froze in shock. Now he understood why Ibai kept it hidden for so long. He bolted, claiming he'd tamper with the captured zombie and study it. Outside, Wang Xing began issuing commands to the zombies once more, directing them to swarm Yubei. The earth quaked, and the giant muttered it felt like an earthquake. Yi urged him to quit hesitating and keep slaughtering. Suddenly, Yubei sensed something amiss. The undead leapt straight at him. As they neared, Ruchi snapped her fist shut. The zombies detonated in a burst before his eyes. Yubei was baffled, clueless about the spectacle. Ruchi cackled, promising his imminent death. She unleashed endless waves, each exploding at his face. They recalled no such self-destructing zombies from his past. Wan Shang observed from the sidelines. Jobo declared it a clash of deities, impossible to intervene. He disclosed that Ruchi had devoured 7 pearls to gain this form. Her flesh melted and reconstituted, a testament to her hatred for Yubei. Jobo wondered if more pearls meant greater power, fearing she'd become a monster instead. Wang Xing, having witnessed her ordeal, declared he'd never tried himself. Ruchi kept hurling zombies toward, explode right before Yib. He realized now someone was pulling their strings. He spun, deflected the assault, and launched a blast at the tower. The boy's aim was flawless, forcing Ruchi to dodge. Wan Shang shouted her name, and like a falling leaf she nearly hit the ground. She barely steadied herself, hovering just in time. Then she froze, eyes locked on the battlefield. Yubei loomed ahead, gripping a colossal hand reminiscent of Optimus Prime. He unleashed another devastating blast. She ripped the zombies from his shield with a fierce yank. A wall of creatures rose, only to teeter on the edge of being swept away. She kept ordering the horde, while he simply watched. He vaulted over the chaos, closing the distance in a single bound. With a thunderous punch, he shattered the fray. She barely slipped to the side. Yib thrust his massive hand forward again. She entered the duel, activating her own power. A crushing blow slammed straight into her mouth. The girl was catapulted far away. She had no time to react. He pinned her hard to the ground. Optimus Prime 1, Waifu 0. Yib sneered. "If you survived those bullets, you must have eaten the pearls. How many?" She gave no answer. She tried to unleash the power from her hand. A crushing stomp followed. "Stop fighting back, warrior. It's futile." A scream of agony ripped through the battlefield. He reminded her that in a past life she'd cost him an arm, and now she'd pay again. Suddenly, a sound echoed nearby. Wang Xing burst in, breathless and desperate. He shouted, demanding Yebe release her. Yebe flared his massive hand and unleashed a blast. The monster evaded the attack. He began circling his opponent. Spotting an opening, he lunged forward. The boy didn't hesitate. Gripping Ruwaxi, he smashed Wang Shang's arm. With his other hand, he fired the laser. The blast hit him straight in the chest. The fool was sent flying. Watching Wang Xing fall and Ruwaxi captured as if it were nothing, Shobo knew her only chance was to run. Ruwaxi remained crushed beneath the giant robot. Yebe declared she might be a true chosen one. She'd devoured the pearls yet remained human, but he sensed her deadly danger. To avert future chaos, he resolved to finish her now. Just as he prepared to crush her, the zombies began to transform. Yebe was stunned. How had they already reached rank 1? Yao, reports came in. Zombies are swarming the lab. Zhou Heng held the line, but some breached the defenses and scaled the walls. Waxi let out a mocking laugh. She warned that everyone would die and become her zombie slaves. He'd had enough. He hurled her far away. She slammed into the horde. He prepared his massive hand and fired a twin laser barrage. Believing her dead, he fled. Yet stories rarely end that way. Meanwhile, the giant panicked. His gun was empty. Only his sword remained, and enemies closed in. At that moment, a rank 1 zombie lunged. He barely raised the sword in time. He wondered if a new ability user was behind this. He drove the blade straight down the center. It barely grazed, leaving only a shallow scratch. Fear surged through him. He spun around. More monsters were mutating. The entire base was surrounded, waves of foes endless. Xiao Heng lunged, slashing at a creature. He pierced its chest and bolted. The blade clanged uselessly. He couldn't even identify the monster before him. Could these be the rank 1 mutants Yebe warned about? Abe's voice crackled, pleading for Bao's safety. Meanwhile, creatures vaulted the barrier, converging on the research hub. Sang remained glued to his experiment, oblivious to the chaos outside. Sao scrambled for an exit, but Yebe was nowhere to be found, and the base's entrance eluded him. Suddenly, Optimus Prime lunged, seizing the towering foe. Saw cheered, asking if their boy could finally take to the skies. Yebe replied, it was merely a leap with a glide. He then commanded him to crush the swarm advancing on the lab. Taking down rank 1 beasts required more than a single swing. Their newfound agility demanded caution. The hulking fighter collapsed, gasping, finally catching a breath of relief. Yebe vaulted onto the gate's summit. He readied the Optimus hand, and began vaporizing everything in its path. But as he cleared one flank, hordes surged from the opposite side. Spent, the giant shouted to Yuer, pleading for water. A sudden sound rang out nearby. He spotted a creature edging closer. It was inches away when he braced for the strike. He seized the blade and drove it into the monster's chest. He slammed the first foe to the ground, then ripped it clean in two. The kid refused to pause. He struck once more. Yuer arrived, handing over the water he'd begged for. She checked whether Zhuaheng was alright. Getting closer, she noted this zombie was unlike the others. Within its skull glimmered a crimson pearl. Meanwhile, Professor Zhang finally uncovered the object they'd been hunting. Though the stone seemed dull, a faint green glow pulsed within. Was humanity mutating because of this metal, or did the metal form when they turned? He was eager to unlock its mysteries. Outside, our hero swept the battlefield clean. He felled another foe there, then smashed two more in a flash. With a single swipe of his hand, he declared the fight finally over. He shouted for the big guy to gather the pearls, having cleared the area. Zhao Han gave a thumbs up, praising his efficiency, though he'd once been just a fan. When the big guy surveyed the mound of slain monsters, he grumbled that gathering them all would take forever. Turning to Yebe, he bargained, "Help me collect them and I'll get a mecha." Yebe replied he'd think about it later. Right now he needed sleep. Then the elder approached. He announced it was time for Yebe to reveal the secrets of the strange pearl. Outside, the big guy began digging. The battlefield was swarming with creatures. And the worst part? He was doing it alone. Back at the base, Grandpa Zhang stared in awe at the rare metal. Yebe explained the pearl forms in the brain the moment a person becomes a zombie. The longer it basks in light, the more energy it stores. Zombies essentially perform photosynthesis. The old man noted the analysis yielded no match for Yebe's description, yet he detected light-reactive metal molecules inside, ultra-resilient, drawn to both metal and blood. Yebe confirmed the artifact's unique affinity for human blood. That's why the virus spreads far faster in humans, and sunlight fuels continual mutation. The old man explained it also why zombies freeze in daylight, staring at the sun. Yet today they'd been tearing through the streets like madmen. Yebe revealed an ability user was pulling their strings. The old man asked if he meant the spiked beast, or the flame-wielding one. Yebe clarified those were ordinary mutants. The true puppeteer was Ruashi, a high-ranking classmate. The old man struggled to grasp how a single item could trigger such drastic human changes. Yebe said their research showed consuming it guarantees mutation, so ability users must be eliminated the moment they're found. Overwhelmed by the artifact, the mutations, and the new zombie hierarchy, the old man struggled to keep up. He warned our hero that none of this was taught at his school, so where had he learned it? Yebe replied he might share someday, but it'd be better if the old man uncovered the truth himself. The old man begged to see Yebe's latest weaponry. Exhausted, Bibi agreed, just don't dismantle the mega, he'll need it again. Then the old man left, thrilled. Yebai announced he was heading to bed, utterly drained. She'd hoped to ask our hero to rescue her father, but she knew he'd been exhausted from battle. She draped a small blanket over him, settled beside him, and stared into the distance, yearning for her missing father. Dusk was already swallowing the sky. Exhausted, the giant collapsed outside, dreaming of a device that could harvest the pearls in an instant. Unseen, Chubwa stalked him from the shadows. She believed the nightmare ended after a day that claimed thousands of zombies. With Wan Shang and Ru Chia presumed dead, she considered surrender, only to realize they'd kill her without a second thought. She felt monstrous. Even the new rank 2 zombies turned their fury on her. She spent her remaining strength conjuring flames, incinerating the attackers. Yet if more mutated or swarmed, the battle would become far harder. Her only hope, devour more pearls and grow stronger. Then she froze. Perched in the tree, the albino watched. Ah Feng glared at her unmoving. She opened her mouth to speak. He lunged, then spread his arms. Suddenly he bolted in the opposite direction. She hesitated, then seemed ready to give chase. Back at the base, you lie asleep. The hulking man lies beside her, exhausted after hauling everything. In the dead of night you stir. Awake, you find Yuba already up. The apocalyptic mechanic lingered in the workshop, as always. Blowtorch in hand, he turned toward the blaze. Dawn broke, and morning arrived. We returned to the very convenient store where it all began. Yuer's father approached cautiously. He entered, searching for her, only to find the shop wrecked. On a table lay a note she'd left behind. She'd gone to find him. Now he had no clue where she was. Outside, zombies swarmed the area. They remained motionless, as always. Their eyes glowed, fixed on the sinking sun. Back at the base, a spiky Batmobile was taking shape. It roared to life, armored and perched on 4 massive wheels. The driver, grinning wildly, prepared to take the wheel. The boy's skill was legendary. He'd built the entire car in a single night. The towering brute asked if it was forged from rare metal and could shift into a mecha. Yubao replied it was just a car, powered by 2,000 pearls and 12 rank 1 zombie cores. The giant declared it fit him perfectly and demanded a test run. He asked when they could unleash it on the battlefield. He stepped out, determined to find you, or his father. Yet you ordered them to stay put. The time she longed for had arrived. Yubao shut it down. Outside swarmed rank 1 zombies. She'd die. She claimed she'd obeyed every command, but now she must locate her father alone. Yubao warned her to quit her stubbornness, or the professor would lock her in the lab. You broke down, tears streaming. You called out for her father. The big guy snapped at Yubao. Why did you make her cry? Professor Zhang appeared, urging her to calm down. He unveiled a repaired drone, his debut creation with the rare material. It stored far more power, ran longer, and boasted superior communication and stability. From the safety of the base, she could still aid the search for her father. Yubao praised him, confident he'd master the device quickly. The old man chuckled, admitting he wasn't a real professor, yet he managed to craft something like this. Yubao finished the car's prep and told the big guy it was time to move. Zhao Heng trembled with excitement as he revved the rhino. Yubao warned them to stay cautious. The big guy slammed the accelerator. The Batmobile blasted out of They ripped from the base, tearing through the forest. He stared in disbelief. The ground felt like polished asphalt. The road suddenly opened ahead. Through abandoned cars, his focus never wavered. His new ride reduced the others to mere tofu. Soon, Yubao announced they'd spotted her father nearby. They plunged deeper into the ruined city. The big guy frowned. Oddly, no zombies in sight. Then a grin spread across his face. Zombies crowded the rooftops. In an instant, they swarmed the vehicle. Their claws hammered the metal. A massive body slammed and clawed at it. They tried to tear it open, but nothing gave. One pressed against the windshield, and the big guy barked. Move! He shot a glance at Yubao. Does the car have weapons? Yubao replied. Gunpowder won't cut it. I've got something better. He hit a button, and the car ignited with green energy. Bolts of lightning arced outward, striking the horde. The zombies vaporized instantly. I froze, jaw slack, mirroring the big guy's shock. He warned that a swarm of rank 1 zombies meant no survivors. Time to reroute. We took a different path, only to spot a figure on a rooftop. From above, someone watched us intently. He grinned, intrigued by the unfolding chaos. The road led us straight to a deserted shopping mall. The big guy confirmed the cameras had last seen her father there. Our leader ordered the drone's release, cueing Yuer to begin the sweep. She piloted the drone, scanning every corridor. Room after room, the search intensified. The big guy asked what they should do while waiting. Our boy offered to scout the lower levels, then said he was heading back to sleep. The big guy replied he felt safest inside the vehicle. So they revved up, blasting the horn as they drove. As they pressed on, Yuer warned, zombies were heading their way. The big guy flinched. Then a grin spread. He was eager to test the new weapons. He slammed the activation button. Spike protrusions erupted from the tires. He barreled straight into the Kree. He sliced through everything. A second button unleashed a laser. It obliterated half the street. Yuer warned him to tread carefully, Her father might be inside one of those houses. He hit the next button, praying it wouldn't cause too much devastation. A meat grinder sprang ahead. He rammed it, grinding the first foes. Then the system announced he'd secured another pearl. His dream of a collection tool finally materialized. He leaned in, hugging Yubei. The car lurched into a sway. Confused, you stare, unsure where you are. Inside, the big guy had already banged his head 5 times. Yue shouted. She'd spotted her father's car half a kilometer away and sent the photos. Zhao Heng reassured her, promising they'd find him. The vehicle was mangled, its windshield shattered. Panic surged. She feared something had happened while he was out gathering supplies. Yubei urged her to deploy the drone, hoping he'd left a message nearby. Still, she couldn't calm down. She kept demanding to know his whereabouts. Then, abruptly, she vanished. He slammed his face onto the keyboard. The old man lunged at her, clueless about the chaos. Moments later, Zhao Heng forced the car to a halt. Yubei pressed the professor for Ware's condition. He replied she'd fainted and her ailment was worsening. Obsessed with her father, she'd missed doses. He'd luckily stashed some. Yet treating it wasn't his forte, and doctors were a rarity now. He ordered Yubei to fetch meds from the hospital, while he fought to keep her alive. Suddenly, the big guy returned, empty-handed, no messages in the wreck. Oddly, her father had left a mountain of supplies. He must have fled in panic after the crash. He uncovered black boxes, unmarked, brimming with mysterious pills. He guessed they were medicine and vowed to bring them to Zhang for analysis. They fired up the car and raced toward the hospital. The professor stayed with Yubei, unable to assist with the drones. In the car, his face fell upon hearing Yubei's leukemia diagnosis. He finally grasped why Yubei barred her from joining. He began urging a medicine hunt, but she cut him off. Drive now. Yubei knew the city's supplies would vanish in 2 years, leaving a barren wasteland. The decay was accelerating, threatening to outpace any rescue. Perhaps letting her live here was futile. The scene cut to a new tableau. A hand plunged a syringe, delivering liquid into Jobo's arm. It instantly started regenerating. She stared, bewildered by the impossibility. Even her flames reignited. The hat-clad blonde remarked how impressive it was that she wielded fire. Jobo thanked him, then asked about his organization. He spread his arms, explaining they recruit the gifted to forge a paradise for the chosen. Confused, Jobo asked if the blonde was also an ability user. He confirmed, noting countless others like him. She wondered if one could retain a normal human appearance. He affirmed. His group had a solution, letting them live peacefully in this new world. Outside the hospital, he lingered at the entrance, where graffiti warned, "Private property, stay out." He told Yubei the building was occupied. What now? Yubei, voiced like a commander, said a strategic site would always be guarded. He ignored the warning and barreled inside. He found the sudden silence unsettling. Flickering signs warned, turn back or die. Yubei ordered them to split up, staying linked via headset. Walking onward, he muttered it was his second most hated place. Though disinfectant fumes repelled him, he inhaled the stale air regardless. In this wasteland, disinfectant was a relic. Yet, oddly, he caught a sweet, fruity scent. He suddenly swooned, collapsing to the floor. Yubei shouted, demanding to know what happened. Silence followed. He narrowed his eyes, suspicion rising. A strange liquid began dripping from the ceiling. Yubei inhaled the odor and instantly suspected poison. Yet Optimus Prime, ready, snapped on his mask and activated his massive respirator. He thrust his hand forward, blasting the duct. He warned the big guy it was a trap and urged him to retreat. A figure suddenly materialized beside him. He didn't hesitate. He launched a punch at the doctor, who mirrored the move. But he halted an inch away from contact. She brushed the robot, admiring its sleek mecha. She guessed it was crafted from zombie pearls. She longed to meet its creator. Unsure if she possessed an ability, Yi demanded to know who she was. She introduced herself as Tang Tang, a brilliant doctor with a sugary smile. Yubei pressed. Why the toxin? Have you taken any pearls? She replied. I unleashed it to sedate intruders, but I'm intrigued by this pearl-eating phenomenon. Yubei brushed it aside, asking, Are you alone here? She declared herself the castle's sole princess and queried, Is the Demon King here to seize me? Wearied, Yubei asked, Aren't you scared of dying? She smiled manically. Death is as sweet as candy. If I die for what I love, I'll have no regrets. Our boy, doubting her sanity, queried, What makes you a genius? And what's your specialty? She answered, I'm a doctor who studies viruses. That piqued his interest. He pressed her for the pearl's secrets, and whether she'd turn them into poison, but she refused the interrogation. She called him annoying, demanding he reveal the mecha's creator if he wanted answers. He hesitated. Then he offered to escort her to the research institute, and her eyes lit up. She warned he must agree to one final request before she complied. The scene cut to a desolate desert road. A lone car sat in the middle of nowhere. Yao Heng shouted for Hakone, demanding to know where she was. She replied she despised broken promises and asked if Shao-Chi had arrived. The motorcyclist, Shao-Chi, declared that after this mission they'd return and get married. A voice ordered them to quit flirting mid-mission as a truck barreled toward them. The trio eagerly echoed Zhao's words, vowing to stick to the plan. The truck surged past the car, and they held their breath for the signal. The big guy suddenly demanded the signal. Xiaoqi barked, "Where the hell's the signal?" Her Hawken was struck by the oncoming truck. Meanwhile, Xiaoqi scrambled to flee, muttering that things were getting strange. Another vehicle rolled up behind the group. That's when he realized their plan had been compromised. The big guy snapped awake. It was all just a dream. He'd blacked out from her toxin, and the smug doctor loomed over him. Yabe asked if he'd gotten enough sleep. He blinked, bewildered, as the lunatic girl laughed. She explained her custom poison induced a 3-hour blackout, and without the antidote his body would have turned to a blood pool. Yabe ordered everyone to quit the chatter and load the cargo into the vehicle. Tang Tang politely requested Zhao Heng's help, but he dawdled. She snapped, warning him to obey or end up sealed in one of those jars. The hapless man snatched the jars and hustled away. She thanked him, calling him a true gentleman. Yabe demanded to know her true identity. He recalled the sweet poison from his past. Future zombie hunters would wield its deadly gas. If she pioneered that formula, she was a vital asset worth protecting and developing. He couldn't allow her to fall into rival gang hands. Soon everything was packed. The car concealed far more than it seemed. She called it adorable, noting it seemed crafted from pearls. Perfect for a princess. She laughed, as the big guy wondered if they should bring such a wild card. Yubai insisted they needed her medicine research and her aid on the journey. Suddenly, a noise rang out. A mutated creature emerged atop a building. A chimera lion, its body bristling with countless eyes. Everyone froze. It drooled, roared, and the big guy wondered if it was another ability user or a zombie. Yubai ordered them to stop loitering and get inside the vehicle. The beast lunged. Yubai triggered Optimus Prime. He struck its arm with a crushing blow. The creature toppled to the ground. The big guy revved the car. Yubai restrained it with his bare arms. He commanded, "Take the doctor to base. I'll handle the monster." He slammed a fist into the creature's neck. Then he blasted it with a laser. From the car, the big guy marveled at its massive size. Tang Tang explained the hulking beast had stalked the hospital for ages, keeping everyone away. Xiao Heng demanded why she never warned them. She replied, baffled, that coming from outside she assumed it was already handled. Leaning in, she claimed their advanced gear made it a breeze. After all, they were humanity's last hope, prompting the big guy to tell her to stop kidding. She swore she wasn't fabricating. She'd studied the zombie virus and knew that those who never turned were the true survivors. Outside, Yabe continued the assault, delivering another crushing punch. The timing still clashed with his memories. These mutants weren't natural evolution. They were virus-infused, engineered hybrids that shouldn't exist yet. The beast unleashed a searing beam. Yabe barely sidestepped. A grin spread. He finally grasped the truth. He unleashed Optimus Prime again, targeting its neck. The blast ricocheted, crashing into the wall. Yabe saw the creature could still mirror his strikes. The beast lunged, raking him with its claws. He slipped aside, evading the swipe. The beast seized one of the leaders, coiling its massive limbs around him. Yabe barked, "Enough of your defiance," and ripped 2 chunks from its spine. The gargantuan monster crumbled, spent. She unleashed another searing beam. Yabe met it head-on with his gauntlet. "Your tricks are futile now," he declared. The moment was his. He surged forward, piloting the robot. He landed a perfect strike on her head. The blow slammed her into the ground. The boy fought with savage precision. He delivered the final blow to the monster. Amid the wreckage, a massive pearl glimmered. He turned it over, declaring it would change everything. "Once we graft it, victory will be effortless." From the rooftop, the blonde observer watched. He muttered, "This is going to give me a real headache." Yabe radioed the big guy, asking if they could hear him. Too far away, the signal had already died. He decided it was time to head back. He took off, soaring with Optimus. Gliding past the towers, he caught sight of the blonde on a nearby roof. The blonde waved, smiling. "Pleasure to meet you." Yabe instantly extended his hand, detonating a blast that vaporized the blonde. From another rooftop, the blonde sneered, "Got a problem with ability users?" Yabe didn't blink, unleashing a barrage of attacks. The explosion erupted in his wake. The blonde shrugged, saying he had no desire to fight. He teleported onto the robot's arm, announcing a brief message. Yabe crushed him in an instant. The blonde replied, "If you want to talk while I'm down, go ahead." Introducing himself as Song Bin, he beckoned Yabe to the northern district. Yabe kept the pressure on as the doctor muttered about calling the medic. When Yabe glanced at his hand, the figure had vanished, proof of a body swap trick, a minor threat but a terrifying nuisance. Even stranger, a secret cabal was already rising. Ibai dreaded it but knew he must brace for the worst. To top it off, they called themselves Secret Organization, unoriginal, yet Ibai foresaw their dominance over resources and the awakened within 50 years. Their aim, a world ruled by ability users. That mutant beast was likely their creation, and they'd been monitoring him for some time. Impossible they existed without future allies, which implies they have a time traveler on their side. The Batmobile rolled into the base. Tang Tang noted it was a typical site for building such a mecha car. The big guy praised her daring to venture into the unknown, and she replied she trusted her gut. She ordered Zhao Heng to eliminate the experiments, claiming it was for Yui. The elder appeared, remarking they'd finally found a doctor. Tang approached, asking if he was the professor behind the mecha and the vehicle. Before he could answer, she declared she already knew it was him, and had come to hear his story. The doctor sneered at his sloppy attire, labeling him a mad scientist. Grandpa Zhang puzzled over Yubar's source for this wild girl, yet recognized Professor Tang, a young virus prodigy. Flustered, she accepted the honor, while the old man marveled at how such a girl survived. She cut the pleasantries, declaring she was there to study the pearls with him. He praised her ingenuity, amazed she'd built both the mecha and the car. She dubbed it Black Gold, and asked if he'd coined the name. Grandpa Sang hesitated to claim credit, knowing she knew less than he did, and Yibi demanded secrecy. He spread his arms, proposing a partnership based on his latest discoveries. But first, she had to assist him with another task. The scene shifted to the infirmary, where you lie in a hospital bed. Moments later, Tang emerged, and the professor asked how she was faring. She peeled off her mask, revealing. He queried whether Yue was his granddaughter. The elder replied she wasn't by blood, but he treated her as one. Tang gestured, prompting the old man too. He asked if that meant the girl was alright. Tang shook her head, and he wondered if she had 3 years left. She corrected him. Only 3 months remained. After treating countless victims of the same disease, she could barely explain how the girl survived. In her current state, her body rejected any treatment, leaving them with almost no options. Chan asked if she was urging him to simply accept the girl's fate. Tang suggested they might repurpose it. Moments later, Yue stirred awake. She caught the old man outside questioning whether they'd really administer that drug. Tang clarified, it wasn't the drug, but a plan to forge a novel cure from the material. Tests showed the material radiated an energy capable of regenerating nearby cells. The old man explained that this is why some who ingested it transformed. She scoffed, asking who'd be foolish enough, and he replied 2 users had become immensely powerful. Tang fell silent, then noted that beyond certain death, no other outcomes came to mind. She urged him to prioritize the real task, crafting a cure from the material for the girl. Time was short, and they must ensure she doesn't become a monster. Zhao Heng finally set the last artifact on the shelf. He stared, baffled by why she prized it so highly. Tang entered, nodding thanks to the towering figure. He asked whether the disease could be cured. She replied, perhaps, with the right plan. He offered to check on Yubei, but she waved him off. He was holding his own. Turning to leave, she pressed about Yu Warren's missing father. He confirmed the search was on. Tang urged speed, knowing the father's aid could save her. Meanwhile, high above the city, Yubei perched on a skyscraper beside the giant robot. The scorching sun beat down, yet the father remained at large. He took to the sky, searching for water. Spotting a mall, he dove inside. He shattered the glass doors, landing before a pool. The water was there, but undrinkable. A strange noise caught his attention. Something darted past him. He spun the robot around, unleashing a laser blast. Suddenly, the creature ripped through the wall, lunging at him. The monster towered over everything. Fortunately, the robot's arms matched its size. Yubei fixed his gaze, and cocked for another blast. The beast slammed him aside. He crashed hard into the wall. Cursing, he unleashed another shot. It evaded with ease, then struck from the flank. Yubei hurled a punch, only to find it was too swift, slipping through his grasp. The strike landed, but Yub seized the beast. He yanked it sideways, slamming it into the ground. He fired the robot's laser. A second blast struck its neck. The monster toppled over. A woman emerged from its wreckage. The creatures began firing lasers themselves. Yabi froze, stunned. Meanwhile, on the streets, the big guy scoured for Yubei, only finding him when the drone powered up. His back was the problem. She asked if the team was still outside. He told her to rest while they kept searching. She confessed she couldn't sleep and felt better staying active with them. He agreed, warning her not to push herself too hard. She reactivated the drone and resumed the sweep. The drone soon flagged something strange. The big guy asked what it was. Yubei reported a horde of zombies heading toward the construction zone. They wondered if any survivors might be trapped there. Then she spotted a girl perched on top of a container. The big guy scanned the feed and recognized her. Yubei asked how. He explained she'd been captured by that man before, escaped once, and vanished afterward. Yubei insisted they must rescue her. The big guy deployed the car's claws. He barreled through the horde, slicing zombies apart. The girl perched on the container stared in disbelief. Yubei urged her to wait for an opening and jump into the vehicle. He kept smashing everything in his path. Pulling up beside her, he shouted for her to get in. She vaulted into the rear seat. Yo barked, "All right, let's move." The girl slipped in, eyes wide. "Who are you?" The big guy flashed a grin. "We're the rescue crew." Across the battlefield, Yob endured another brutal hit, slamming hard into the wall. The monster lunged, delivering its final strike. Yob shielded his eyes, refusing to meet its gaze. His visor was shattered from the last clash, leaving him defenseless. The beast's assault grazed him, a near miss that could have been fatal. He unleashed another laser blast, but the creature darted away too quickly. Its tail struck him again. He tumbled into the pool, feeling foolish. He realized his careless mistake. He sank deeper as the crew watched. The preacher prepared his next strike. Immobilized, he could barely breathe. Sharp spikes erupted from the water's surface. He wondered if this would be his end. A blinding flash erupted, illuminating the chaos. The creature crumpled as the strike pierced its eye. The massive figure roared in, piloting the Batmobile. "The apocalyptic rescue team has arrived," he declared. The beast froze, bewildered by the sudden onslaught. He unleashed his weapon, then charged forward. Yob's colossal hand snapped shut like a vice. He snatched the monster's tail, demanding, "Where do you think you're going?" With a brutal yank, he dragged it back into the water. Then he drove a crushing punch into its core. He warned the big guy, if the creature stared back, fire the laser. The big guy nodded, ready? He struck before the beast could react. Yob blasted a laser into its gut. The creature crumpled, trembling. It shivered helplessly. He clutched its head, demanding answers. "What are you doing here, mutant? Did the organization send you to kill me?" The girl stayed silent. "Open your mouth, or I'll crush your skull," she snapped when the secret organization was named. Lena pleaded, begging not to return to that nightmare. The big guy demanded why this girl had become a monster too. The beast suddenly recognized the girl in the car. It snarled, "Lena!" in a twisted voice. Yob warned, "Stay still, or I'll end you." Lena leapt from the vehicle, asking, "Is that creature Annie?" Under Yob's grip, the creature screamed her name. The big guy told Yubei it might be another victim of the black material. Lena stepped forward, demanding, "Sister, how did you become this?" The girl confessed an organization had experimented on her, unable to put her pain into words. Yob ordered Lena to step back, promising to end her suffering. Lena begged, insisting that even transformed, she was still his sister. Yura stepped between Yob and Lena, demanding he wait. Yob warned her to move or he'd crush the drone. Lena pleaded, saying they had just reunited and he couldn't take her life now. Yob countered that any transformed being had an unstable mind, too dangerous to keep alive. Still, Lena stayed rooted, weeping for her sister. He urged them to at least talk before deciding her fate. Yob reminded her the creature had nearly killed him, and he wouldn't let her walk away alive. The big guy told your partner to thank her. Without her, they'd never have arrived in time. Hearing that, your partner stepped back. He set the creature free and turned his back. He muttered that they were idiots. The monster rose, demanding if they were from the secret organization. You replied they were merely scouring the city for survivors. Annie revealed that after her transformation she escaped, yet the organization kept unleashing giant dogs to hunt her here. When asked why she attacked your partner, he said she was scared and mistook him for an operative. She approached Lena, relieved to be safe and assuring she meant no harm. Relieved, invited Annie to join their ranks. They were studying nearby zombies and hoped Annie could help. Lena asked if they could truly join, and Ye replied, "We'd love to help. The only issue, the monster wouldn't fit in the car." Annie promised Lena she'd follow wherever she went. The big guy questioned Ye about bringing the monster home. Ye answered, "We're two sisters in danger, and it's everyone's duty to help." Ye hopped into the seat. Seeing Ye comply, the big guy declared it was time to head back. With the driver behind the wheel, and the monster in tow, they departed. The big guy marveled at how swiftly the creature moved. Soon they arrived back at base. The doctor and Tang froze at the sight of the creature. They demanded answers on the spot. Lena stepped forward, saying she and her sister fled east, stole a car, and headed south when disaster struck. Suddenly, Annie emerged from the creature's head. Lena introduced Annie, revealing she'd been seized by an organization and turned into an experiment. The old man's skin turned ash at the mention of that group. Tang cooed, finding Annie cute, and whispered gently, "Don't be scared, I just want to touch you." The creature flicked its fins, making Tang pause. It then backed away, and dove into the pool. Tang frowned, sensing her anxiety. The big guy bluntly asked how they survived out there starving, just the two of them. Lena explained a mysterious man had led them past zombies, then vanished, leaving them stranded. The big guy leaned in, curious who could have pulled that off. Lena revealed the man gave them gut-coated clothing to mask their scent, keeping zombies at bay. The big guy's thoughts raced to one name. Could it be you or his father? He blurted it out. He asked if the man had short hair and was named Yao Haipeng. Lena confirmed, then fixed her stare on Yura. Recognizing the girl from earlier, Yura's face fell as she admitted Yao Haipeng was her father. She collapsed instantly. Tang caught her, lifted her up, and demanded why she'd fled the hospital. The big guy turned to Ibe, asking why they weren't searching for her father. Ibe warned that night would make the outside far more perilous, and he needed to fortify their refuge. Then the old man stepped forward, insisting Ibe finally give a true explanation. Ibe always seemed all-knowing, yet the old man couldn't grasp why he hid so much or feared the truth. The big guy backed him up. Without Ibe, none of them could survive. Ibe fell silent for a moment, then nodded. Time had come. He revealed himself as a traveler, hailing from 50 years in the future. The big guy believed him instantly, finally understanding why Ibe never seemed ordinary. The old man's face froze. What kind of time travel was Ibe even claiming? Tang's eyes widened. Humanity had survived beyond 50 years. Ibe revealed it all began with the pearl. That pearl ignited the apocalypse and sparked the greatest technological leap. Analyzing its composition, they learned it could project a mind into the past, only if the target lay within the activation radius. The old man recoiled in horror. Yabe explained that this is how they rewound to the virus's origin. No earlier point was possible. Years of searching yielded no earthly counterpart. They concluded it was extraterrestrial. The big guy's mind clicked, an alien invasion. Yabe warned that, if true, the aliens had already won. Within 50 years, humanity would shrink to under 10 million, and they'd be locked in a relentless fight just to survive. Ultimately, Yeeb was chosen to travel back and rewrite everything. The big guy finally grasped Yeeb's obsession and demanded his true age. Yeeb replied, "I'm nearing 70 now." Yet each jump drops him at the exact moment he first encountered the virus at school. Changing the past, however, proved anything but simple. Stunned, the big guy mused, "That's story material," while Tang wondered if fate had them paired as allies. Yeeb admitted uncertainty, but hoped it was true. Zhao Heng stared, bewildered. What else was Yeeb hinting at? Were more shifts coming? He just stared, speechless. Yabe turned to Tang, noting the virus was mutating. Tang nodded in agreement. Surviving at all was a miracle. The outbreak spread through the air, not bites. They leapt up, stunned, wondering why they hadn't turned. Tang called them the chosen ones, citing rare antibodies that blocked the airborne strain. Yet she warned a bite could still trigger infection. Yabe revealed they'd all been infected long ago. Immunity to the airborne form didn't stop other transmission routes. Gizeo Hing was shocked by Yabe's secrecy. Yabe explained he'd kept quiet after confirming a suspicion. A future operative was hastening the virus's evolution. That faction called itself the Black Order. The focus shifted to a new setting. Enter Zhou Bo. He turned out to be a man, not a woman as I'd assumed. The blonde guy's story was true, after all. He grinned, announcing his official induction into the squad. He gushed about how incredible the team was. Across the glass, a white-haired girl watched silently. Back with Yabe, he warned that people were mutating into creatures far faster than before. The first zombie mutation, expected weeks later, erupted early. Today they'd face psychic beasts. These were Black Order creations. He suspected agents from the future were responsible. He questioned why the Black Order hoarded weapons and knowledge yet cared nothing for humanity's survival. Yeeb explained the Order saw superpowers as destiny's gift. Their aim, eradicate humanity, leaving only the gifted. Tang grimaced. This sounded utterly absurd. The elder suddenly recalled a crucial detail. He noted Zhao Heng's black box contained pills. Analysis revealed a catalyst-like material. He wondered if it linked to the Black Order. Yeeb suspected they were seeding water with the virus, sparking the mass transformations. He mentioned Yura's father's car was stocked with the same items. Perhaps he's involved. Yeeb postponed the probe, warning that as long as the Black Order lives, humanity is doomed. He unfurled a map, outlining base upgrades to boost their defense, and ordered Tang to keep watching ya. Yeeb then asked, "Are you his sister by any chance?" He wondered if that would cause any trouble. She dismissed it as a medical issue. He replied it had nothing to do with that. He sent the hulking soldier back to assist Tang and the elder with the preparations. Meanwhile, Yura stirred awake in the dim room. She sat up, spotting Linus lying beside her. He was still fast asleep. Silently, she slipped out of the bed and slipped down the corridor, where Tang was waiting in a nearby room. She affirmed Yabe's story was truthful. She took a sip and slumped over the table. She muttered that she'd hoped the troubles would end, but they only worsened. Eurus appeared beside her. Tang demanded why she was there and ordered her back to sleep. Yura replied she couldn't sleep and needed to step outside. Tang reassured that everyone was asleep and Yabe would soon return to search for his father, so there was no cause for alarm. Yaira claimed she'd overheard a conversation and asked who else was present. Tang confirmed she'd heard correctly. She pointed at a head and declared, "That's him." Yura sprang up, demanding why she'd be speaking to a zombie. "That head belongs to Tang's childhood friend, a reckless fool," she declared. Confused, Yaira asked for clarification, and Tang obliged. He was kind-hearted, yet she couldn't grasp why he'd chosen medicine. After countless rejections he kept studying, finally succeeded, and stayed by her side. When the hospital tried to steal her research, he exposed their deceit. When disaster struck, he was the only one who threw himself in front of her. Even as he fought and changed, he never stopped shielding her. The ground was littered with fragments. She could no longer tell which were his. Still, she gathered them, hoping future technology would restore what was lost. She could rebuild him and bring him back to life. She laughed, insisting she was only joking. She knew life was never that simple. Yorks asked awkwardly if she liked him. Tang confessed he was the only one who ever touched her heart. She told Yuarti to return to sleep, as she still needed to speak with Annie later. Meanwhile, outside, she set out to find Annie. Annie rose from the water, meeting her gaze for a heartbeat. Yuar introduced herself, and asked how Annie was doing. She warned she must stay hidden, lest the organization locate her. Yuar condemned the cruelty done to Annie's body and asked if it had caused pain. Annie confessed that memories still sent shivers through her, yet lately she felt numb, and she could see Yuar's pain reflected in her eyes. She reached out, brushing a gentle hand across Yuar's cheek. Yuar asked how she could tell. Just as the monster opened its mouth to claim all humans are the same, Annie suddenly collapsed. She caught Yuar with her fins. Then she shouted for Tang. Tang sprinted in, panic flashing across his face. She demanded to know why Yuar was acting that way. From outside, Tang barked, "Go back to bed!" Tang placed his hand on Yuar's temple, warning that if she persisted, she'd be beyond saving. She offered a brief apology before mentioning a request. She begged the doctor to complete the operation. Meanwhile, Yuar tinkered with the Optimus Prime 2.0 project. Across the city, tension mounted. His father scoured the streets for Annie and Lena. Clueless of their whereabouts, he feared a zombie assault. It defied logic. He'd sealed the zone, so no creatures should have been near. Massive tire tracks scarred the road, an unknown culprit, until wings thundered overhead. He glanced up to see a dragon swoop by, circling the skyscraper. Relief surged through him. Suddenly, a blue-bearded man appeared, declaring, "I've finally found you." Back at the previous location, you will be placed inside a tank. Outside, Yi Bei and the old man watched. Zhang hesitated, unsure if that item could cure her. Ye Bei assured him they only needed time for it to work. He'd harvested the pearl's core energy. If Tang followed the formula, the process would run smoothly, side effects possible, but at least she'd survive. The old man asked whether they'd have to repeat the experiment countless times to master it. Ye Bei explained the cure was the elixir of immortality, once sold only to the elite. It cured disease, yet true immortality remained elusive and fleeting. The old man said the name alone made it sound convincing. Ye'd called it their final cautious option. Afterward they'd fully commit to the material and see the result, and the old man simply nodded. Now it clicked. Zhao Heng's return to the streets finally made sense. She was searching for her father. He warned Lena the area teemed with zombies and urged her to stay on the right side. She launched the drone. She apologized, admitting she wasn't used to it. Juggling the camera feeds overwhelmed her, and she called herself an airhead, her own confession. Zhou Heng urged her to stay sharp. They'd find Yu's father soon. Lena suddenly announced she'd spotted someone who looked like him. The drone hovers over a bustling street, where a hooded figure darts for his life, pursued by a horde of rank 1 zombies. His tattered cloak fails him, so he tears it off and hurls it. A grenade detonates. The blast erupts right amid the swarm, but it makes no difference. The zombies march through the fire unscathed. A laser cleaves one of them, and slices 2 more in a single strike. Zhao Heng slammed the brakes, stopping squarely before the stunned man. The stranger stared, frozen in shock. The massive figure flung the car door open, demanding, "Are you Yayuer's father?" Confused, the man hesitated, but our bald ally barked, "Get in! No time to explain!" Fresh from rescue and the streets a death trap, he leapt inside as the car roared away, while the blue-bearded watcher observed from afar. He turned to the blonde. "Are you really going to let him slip away?" The blonde replied. "We're part of a special unit. We must proceed carefully." The blue-bearded man sneered. "My style is to crash in, not play petty games." The blonde warned. "We can't afford that luxury. Our numbers are dwindling." All because the girl unleashed a zombie horde on our base, only to have it annihilate us. The blue-bearded man was baffled. She could command 1,000 zombies yet still lost the base. The blonde lamented the tragedy. The fallen zombies were beyond resurrection. The car rolled into the base. Zhang sprinted out, panicked, demanding, "Is that really Peng?" Yora's father apologized, noting how long it had been and the trouble he caused. Old Zhang urged gratitude. He'd survived against the odds. He ushered him inside to bathe while they tended to the girl. The focus shifted to Peng, trembling with fear. Spotting Yi in a capsule, he demanded an explanation. The grandfather revealed Zhao Heng had found her fine, but her condition worsened as she overexerted herself. She was searching for her father, clutching a crumpled note that begged he should have returned sooner. The elder urged calm, reminding him there was still much to uncover. He handed Peng a mysterious box, demanding to know its origin. Upping admitted they'd found it in his car, but he had no clue what it contained. Zhang pressed for the source. Upping revealed he'd been dealing with Loro of the Black Group, who posed as a charity and supplied drugs claimed to aid Yuri, though the truth was far darker. The old man questioned whether Upping was a member, and what the drugs truly did. Upping confessed the drugs had sparked multiple emergencies citywide. Realizing the organization's true nature, he tried to quit, but stayed on, hoping to escape and return to Yuri. When he finally fled, a horde blocked his path, mirroring the fate that befell her. He'd always preached love and kindness, yet found himself aiding the wrong hands. He collapsed, admitting he'd failed as a father. Just then Tang burst in, announcing Yue was still alive. She was still fighting. She begged him to donate blood, his only chance as her biological father and the sole donor available. Ha Peng thrust out his arm, urging her to take all she needed. The doctor praised his arrival, noting without him she'd have had to use that blood on the girl. The father, bewildered, shouted he'd never allow it. The doctor was baffled. Zhang demanded to know what he understood. Ha Peng hesitated, then revealed the organization plotted a citywide experiment targeting Anqi. Countless lives would be sacrificed. Zhang shrugged, saying most of the populace was already dead, leaving few to lose. The father flatly refused to let them use the material on the girl. Zhang countered that it was their only chance against the foes, and they had nowhere to hide. Aping panicked, urging an immediate escape. He sprinted off, promising to fetch you and get out. A sudden blow struck the back of his neck. Yip-Pei barked for him to be quiet. He dropped a crumpled pen, landing lifelessly on the floor. Yip-Pei turned, ordering, "Collect the blood and begin the surgery." Meanwhile, elsewhere in the untouched part of the city, another plot unfolded. Bluebeard sat alone in a bar. The long-haired man demanded to know why they'd been drawn into the secret group. Bluebeard answered he joined after his comrades fell, leaving him alone. The blonde beside him said he stayed to protect the few people still left. The bartender nodded, noting that new allies would be a game-changer. He expected the secret group to grow beyond its current ranks. Bluebeard reassured him, saying recruitment was already in full swing. The blonde wondered what kind of society superhumans would forge. Though they never needed food, could switch to combat mode, and feared no zombies, he feared uniting people would be tough now. Bluebeard agreed, for now they'd wait on the consultant's reply. The blonde asked if it was safe to keep taking intel from a future source, and Bluebeard answered without hesitation. It was the safest bet. She already knew the future, and the consultant warned that the blonde would become incredibly powerful. Yu Feng retorted, "If Yubei is also from the future, why isn't he chasing superhuman strength?" He reminded everyone that Yubei was the blonde companion from the beginning who later became the albino beast. Bluebeard sneered, calling Yubei a coward who couldn't stand anyone else's success. The blonde replied that the Yubei he'd last seen bore no resemblance to his memory. Bluebeard laughed, saying whoever harmed Yubei in the future would likely pay for it now. One thing was clear, Yubei had to die. He was becoming an obstacle. A hand clapped, and a voice declared it had heard enough. The hat-clad blonde stepped forward. He claimed Yubei's envisioned world was nothing like theirs. They kept urging the boy to change, but warned that refusal meant death. Every soul in the room was forged from black gold. Shedding their old forms, they embraced rebirth, diving deeper into the artifact to wield a power never before known to their kind. Their rallying cry rang out, "Shadow Squadron endures!" Even as they juggled 30 different aliases. At the base, the towering commander drifted in half-sleep. Meanwhile, our hero tinkered with the car. He probed Yubei about his friends from the future. If they were younger then, they'd be children now. Yubei noted that both present and future had shifted. Their survival was uncertain, and Yubei might never see them again. The commander pressed, asking how Yubei intended to rebuild his envisioned organization. Yubei replied, "I don't need named allies, just those who share my vision." Xiao Hang frowned, demanding to know what that vision entailed. Yubei declared their mission, purge black gold and its superhuman users, restoring humanity's rightful order. The elder replied that the vision was easy to articulate, but near impossible to achieve. He outlined how future generations fell enslaved to black gold. To fuel their powers, they built zombie camps that twisted humans into raw black gold. Yet the regime's cruelty thinned the populace, and the remaining superhumans refused to fight. His group was the last rebel spark. Zhao Heng noted the irony. Yubei, a black metal hater, wielded it masterfully. Yubei replied, "To destroy it, you must first comprehend it. When the foes fall, they'll raise every weapon forged from it." Zhao Heng praised his unwavering philosophy. Yubei warned against flattery. Without his future allies, he'd have quit long ago. Without his rescuers, he'd already be a mindless zombie. Later, a pastor appears. Hun awakens in the upstairs room. He notes the odd weather. Zhao Heng replies, "At least the rain has finally let up." Upin questions whether escape is even possible. Zhao Heng reminds them Yubei's intel shows their network now spans the globe. Making a run for it would be futile. Upin argues Yubei's desire to stay stems from a sheltered upbringing. Zhao Heng counters that after all she's endured, she can decide for herself. She proves stronger than he imagined, and she was the one who demanded the surgery. Upin admitted he knew, yet anxiety gnawed at him. Zhao Heng replied, "I once fretted over my own son the same way." Their quarrel drove his son to flee, cutting all ties. Only his disappearance revealed their mutual unforgiveness. Aping asked if his son survived. Zhao Heng answered, "I have no idea." The answer remained a mystery. He knew his boy would never return. They must leave the past behind. The storm had to end. Outside the base, a colossal robot thundered across the field. Yubei's Optimus 2.0 in full stride. The towering commander stared, stunned, and whispered, "This is the ultimate sanctuary." Mapping vowed, "If the faction's leader seeks him, I'll make sure he finds him." He refused to let him slip away. He thrust his arm forward, Iron Man style, toward the giant. "Guard the base while I'm gone," he commanded. "Anyone who shows up will be eliminated." Yib ordered him to protect Jia, and the giant nodded. Aping activated the thruster, propelling it into the sky. The fool stood frozen, watching. "Incredible," he whispered. Across the city, the blonde watcher and his crew observed, recognizing Yubei's hand. The speed of his creation was madness, proof the consultant truly handpicked the elite. Bluebeard trembled with excitement, shouting, "Start the show!" As the blonde gave the cue, the creature began to transform. His hand ignited, turning crimson. A burst erupted from his back. He erupted into a winged, horned monster. Then he launched, soaring away. If he's heading for the base, it's bad news. Inside, a penguin watched. He was running frantic experiments. John contacted Yar's father via the console, confirming flawless compatibility. Upping thanked him, noting he'd have spent a lifetime to afford such surgery. A stem cell transplant seemed imminent, and Aping admitted he could never repay them. Zhang urged him to monitor the feeds and guard against enemy fire. Aping nodded and resumed his search. Out of nowhere, a violet energy sphere hurtled toward them. It detonated above the base. The shockwave rattled the entire compound. Hovering above, the newly transformed azure-bearded figure loomed. He extended his hand once more, unleashing a second strike. A shimmering barrier cloaked the base, yet the interior quivered with unease. Zhang wondered if an assault was already underway. Upping reported a clear front, but the other cameras were dead. Meanwhile, the big guy sprinted to the vehicle. He shouted warnings, a colossal winged beast hurling fireballs. Such a surprise strike could only be the work of that mysterious organization. Zhao Heng ordered the gate opened, demanding to face the threat himself. Zhang consented, urging him to be extremely careful. The massive gate groaned open. He revved the engine, and from the roof the newly installed torpedoes erupted, the big guy vowing the enemy would pay for daring to strike him. They launched an assault on the old man's base. A laser burst forth, detonating with a deafening blast. Bluebeard flinched, startled. He barely evaded the strike, but another barrage was already incoming. Meanwhile, Yebe surged far above the battlefield. It felt off that the comms went dead as he entered enemy-held airspace. He'd need to be ready to go all in. Then an ominous presence brushed his senses. He swerved, evading the strike. Black metal robots littered the ground. Their design screamed Black Guild, future tech confirmed. He unleashed a laser blast. The creature countered with its own defense. Yebe conceded. The enemy already wielded that tech. He vaulted, crushing the beast's skull with a stomp, then smashed a robot with a powerful punch. The battle turned into a Transformer-style melee. He slipped past another incoming blow. He extended a mechanical claw and lunged forward, slamming it into the robot's chest. Just as the first foe collapsed, he glanced up. 5 more silhouettes surged toward him. How could so many time travelers be here already? He answered with a rapid volley of missiles, each striking true, or detonated overhead, and he let out a triumphant shout. He then vaporized another with a precise laser blast. Meanwhile, at the base, the big guy kept trying to tag Bluebeard, but the target kept evading. The long-haired commander asked if they'd stormed the base now. Loro nodded but warned the enemy was rattled by electric fences and toxic gas. They'd move in soon, but a hasty charge would mean annihilation. Exactly as expected, Loro already had a backup plan. Hapon shouted that the big guy had driven the winged beast away. He checked on Yura's condition, asking about the surgery's progress. Suddenly, a strange growth erupted on his neck. Crimson blood gushed forth. He collapsed to the ground. From his corpse, a blonde figure rose. "The blood mark fits perfectly," he declared, "as a seal on me." Even better, he was already inside the control room. Outside, chaos erupted. Zhao Heng reveled in the mayhem. He unleashed another barrage of torpedoes at Bluebeard. The creature lunged to flee, only to discover it couldn't. It twisted, ready to cast a spell. The spell detonated several torpedoes. A laser struck its hand dead center. A flash split the sky as it crashed to the ground like trash. The big guy was fired up. The car unleashed dazzling combos, closing in on the beast. Bluebeard conjured another fireball, hurling it into the earth. The explosion sent the tank flipping. The car spun, and Bluebeard declared, "This ends now." He lunged, both feet planting on the tank's side. He clung tightly, inching forward. "Time to crack that can," he muttered. Unshaken, he swung the door straight into Bluebeard's jaw. He drew his pistol and fired. The monster tried to dodge, but the bullet hit its shoulder. The impact sent it staggering backward. And if you thought the big guy would stay in the car, think again. He barreled down the hill, confronting Bluebeard, who laughed, finally understanding why he'd been sent. The big guy demanded the reason for his laughter. The monster kept laughing. He shouted Zhang's name, noting how long it had been since they last met. Shifting back, he asked if Zhang no longer recognized him. Zhang's eyes widened. "Old Zhao." Meanwhile, back at the base, Tang kept a vigilant watch. She breathed a sigh of relief that the capsule remained untouched. Bong explained the assault knocked out the power, forcing them onto generators. The real crisis, the father's stem cells they'd harvested were now destroyed. Tang shrugged, saying they could simply ask him again. A blonde stranger entered, announcing he could never return here. Zhang whirled, demanding the man's identity. The blonde introduced himself as an organization member, apologizing for the incident. The elder stood stunned, unsure if the barrier fell or Zhao Heng was defeated. He reassured them, saying he'd only taken a fragment of Mr. Yao's flesh. Zhang's expression hardened, as if admitting he'd killed Haipeng. The blonde man declared to the humans that he was dead, because he truly was. Now he'd rise as a zombie, a terrifying upgrade, reassuring Dr. Tang that she'd be safe. Zhang expelled him, stating no one would aid him. He warned that Yib's revelations might be unreliable, noting Yib's habit of abandoning allies for self-preservation. Meanwhile, the boy slammed the massive robots into the earth. He glanced up, spotting 2 more approaching. A nearby girl observed him. She was unmistakably another time traveler. He demolished another robot. The remaining foes opened fire. He deflected the barrage, spun, and shattered the last two. Their remains vaporized instantly. Yet something felt off. These were just flimsy construction bots. Suddenly, a gate began to descend. Something waited beyond it. Two pale legs emerged. A bizarre creature, part flamingo, part peacock, part lion, blocked his path. He muttered, "Their style never fails to impress." The beast roared, letting out a blood-curdling scream. It surged forward with a thunderous charge. Yumi dodged, then instinctively counterstruck. Her stance ignited a hidden power. She fired back, blasting him once more. The monster rained relentless attacks, slipping and ducking with each strike. Yumi activated a device in her eye. A slowing beam shot out, locking onto him. He never needed to meet her gaze. He froze, immobilized. A torrent of violet flames erupted. He froze, unable to dodge. The boy was engulfed in fire. Meanwhile, back at the base, Zhao Heng demanded why the survivor lived. Bluebird retorted that the answer was the same mystery Zhao Heng sought. Zhao pressed, "What's happening? Why are you with them? Did you betray us and cause Zhao Qi and Akuan's deaths?" Bluebird admitted involvement, but insisted it wasn't intentional. The hulking brute shouted, "Why betray us after we trusted you like family?" Bluebird replied, "Our Robin Hood scheme was doomed from the start." On their supposed final mission, the police cornered them, but the new organization intervened, rescuing him and his wounded allies as Zhao Heng vanished. The leader demanded to know if Akun and Zhao Qi were saved. Were they still alive? Bluebird hesitated, then confirmed they were safe and urged a reunion of forces. The leader snapped, calling it a cruel joke. He knew the group aimed to eradicate humanity for a transformed elite, and now suspected Bluebird had become one, and perhaps his two old friends too. Bluebird declared their existence was over. No identity. Hunted, they couldn't survive like this. Within the new organization, they were superhuman, poised to reshape humanity. That's when his tail was slashed. The leader hesitated, then severed a piece of his tail. He demanded again, "Were Akuan and Shaoqi alright?" Bluebeard's eyes narrowed as he muttered, "He's as infuriating as ever." He shot away, warning the big guy, "If you won't talk, I'll drag you to them." At the base, the elder confided in me. He noted the blonde Yebe seemed odd, yet the boy fought hardest to shield him. Song paused, wondering how they'd explain this. Why was a child sealed in a capsule meant for superhuman creation? He realized Yebe aimed to forge obedient psychics. Yebe had masterfully concealed his mechanic persona. He approached the console, declaring the apocalypse mechanics were black old zealots, adept at human experiments. Jiang demanded to know his plan. Song replied he was only helping the boy finish his goal. A single tweak would turn the girl into a black faction-bound psychic. He pressed enter. With another ability user, the organization grew stronger. The old man cursed him as human trash. He lunged forward, iron bar in hand. A burst of fire flared, melting mid-swing. Zhou Bo, beside the blonde, warned him to stay cautious. "Don't play with fire here." The long-haired man eagerly anticipated meeting the new organization. He also hinted at his special bond with her. The blonde commander ordered every defense system shut down. He replied, "Consider it done." He erupted in fury, cursing the lack of anything to ignite. His eyes landed on Lena sprawled on the floor. Could he incinerate her? No one demanded her survival, and the blonde gave the green light. He approached, ordering her to scream loudly the moment she started cooking. Grabbing her arm, the entire facility trembled. The ceiling gave way, collapsing. He transformed, emerging anew. The elder stiffened, caught in shock. He unleashed her ocular ability. In an instant she wiped the room clean. Corpses crumpled to the ground. Zhang bowed, urging her to eliminate the lab's monsters. Tang lunged at the console, desperate to reverse Song's edits. Nothing worked, and surged her power once more, this time targeting Isrit. Tang watched, awestruck, as the force eroded the black metal's might. If that's true, she urged, and to keep at it and slow the mutations. Tang recalled Yabe's warning to trigger the backup protocol in an emergency. Then, without warning, a blue slash ripped across Sen's back. "Yu Fang, what a scoundrel!" He announced they'd finally found the organization's target. He unleashed another slash, but evaded, and flung open her mouth, and spewed a torrent of water, forcing him to dodge. The clash scattered Tang's fragments across the floor. Back at the enemy base, the minions had just ignited Yabe. He erected a barrier, muttering about wasted energy. Time to end it in an instant. He extracted a blowtorch from his head, and aimed it at her. The creature seared as she tested it with her eye. She struck, but he dodged. He unleashed 2 torpedoes. Torpedoes slammed next to her foot. She looked down. He was already at her side. He ripped a chainsaw into her leg. She fell, and he struck again. "Master Samai?" Above, the white-haired girl observed, declaring he'd passed with flying colors. He stood amid the blaze as the creature burned. Then he glanced back, and unleashed a laser at the girl. The base's summit erupted in a massive blast. He glanced upward. She was there, vanishing. Then reappearing at his side, she declared he truly earned the title of Master Mechanic. He lunged at her again, but she vanished in an instant. She materialized behind him, teasing that he should have joined the mechanics committee. Furious, he wondered why teleporters kept crossing his path. He surged forward, aiming for her. She simply extended her hand. His robot sputtered and died. His power waned, and confusion surged. What was happening? He demanded answers. Was she a traitor, and which era did she hail from? She claimed she once ruled as the great sage of the Northern Mountain, serving a mechanical council he ought to join. She lowered her hand. Jasper's robot slammed onto the floor, its weight crushing him with an unnatural heaviness. She revealed the black gold manipulation came from a century ahead, urging him to surrender and join their ranks. You seem to recognize the name. The legend of the Northern Sage. Everyone believed she perished after vanishing. But she'd become a pawn of the Black Organization, a disgrace to her grandfather. She was Dr. Zhang's granddaughter. Her name was Zhang Yu. Could she be the future Yu? She claimed the Shadow faction was the only path to evolve her grandfather's creation. Yu demanded, is her master scheme to mutate all humanity and slaughter her own mechanic allies? She claimed she always spoke truth, yet no one believed, and to avert future chaos she felt forced to erase them all. Defy her, and she'll make him her next victim, he replied, eager to hear her brilliant schemes. She challenged him. Does he truly think black metal is the sole cause of the apocalypse? He answered, the meteor delivered a virus, sparking humanity's mutations. She admitted she'd believed that too, but the real truth was too terrifying to reveal. Yu pressed, what secret drives her to betray and massacre? She revealed, it all stems from the meteor. 5 months ago, the meteor struck, unleashing a zombie virus. A century later, a twin meteor, 10,000 times larger, will strike. The first was merely a scout. That second impact will be the true assault. No arsenal, even combined, could halt a weapon of that magnitude, especially a radioactive behemoth. By then, war had shattered their aerial defenses. Defenseless, the committee's last hope was to construct escape ships. She luckily uncovered Yubei's time travel device, a two-mind conduit, just enough to act. Enraged, he demanded, if doom is certain, why turn them into zombies? Yubei replied that the first meteor sealed humanity's fate. Transformation was inevitable. She merely accelerated the process with black gold. The only salvation lies in uniting the superpowered to halt the looming cataclysm. Back at the base, and clashed with Yufeng. Zhang lay buried beneath the debris. Dr. Tang staggered in, barely conscious. Song burst onto the scene, calling it a close call. He scoffed at the reckless gamble. He checked on the survivors, hauled Zhang out, and breathed relief at his survival. He demanded Zhang be taken alive, his granddaughter's order, leaving the old man baffled, unaware she even lived. Manga declared her a prodigy, the mechanical sage, who a century ahead would dominate Earth with their organization. Puzzled, the elder asked if she was Zhang Yui and whether she truly defected. I was shocked. Turns out they're different people. The blonde affirmed she's the mastermind behind the group, and she could have gone even farther, if only she hadn't lost her legs. He claimed a failed Zhang experiment caused the blast that cost her legs. Zhang's son exiled her, yet she held no grudge. The revelation hit Song hard, convincing him that Zhang's guilt made a meeting essential. He guessed Zhang protected Yu because she resembled her. He delivered a brutal kick to Shobua. He jolted Shobua awake, ordering him to fetch the old man and Dr. Tang as they raced back to base. A figure entered the room. They appeared disoriented. It was his father, now mutated. The blonde snapped at Jobo, demanding he finish everyone off and evacuate them. Shobua lay trembling on the ground. Zhang's companion rose again, grime-covered, advancing relentlessly. Flames framed the scene, illuminating both combatants. Yet the enemy remained unmoved, unresponsive to the fire. The battle grew increasingly brutal. Xing stepped in once more, shielding her from danger. The blonde struck Shobua's father, confident that nothing could go wrong now. The old man bellowed for aping, demanding aid. At that instant, Yuer's capsule began to pulse with light. Outside, Lena watched, her eyes fixed on the unfolding chaos. He was left battered, a broken shell of his former self. Yufeng jeered, urging her to surrender. She simply couldn't keep up with his speed. Zhang lay unconscious, completely out cold. Bluebeard admitted he'd held back, but warned that becoming a superhuman would make him far stronger. Suddenly, energy surged across his back. A green laser erupted from the base's core, blasting straight into the heavens. In Yub's clash, he snapped at Yuer, demanding she quit the excuses. Risking all of humanity for a meteor made no sense. Yuer revealed the second meteor was tracking the first signal. That made the impact unavoidable. Earth would be struck, forcing everyone to evolve into extraordinary beings to survive. Yub couldn't grasp it. Was she planning to hoard black gold or forge an army of superhumans? She declared she'd dominate them all, ruling like a queen, just as she imagined Yib would. He admitted the lure, then turned it down. He wasn't interested in heading a volatile gang. He raised his shield, loyal to the Mechanics Association, never siding with humanity's foes. He unleashed a laser. She deflected it with a hand. He hurled a barrage of torpedoes. They detonated. She vanished, remarking on his astonishingly rapid energy recharge tech. Yet without black gold, his power would soon fade. Her power dwindled, so he reactivated the giant robot. He ignited his back thrusters, trying to break free. She simply reached out and slashed at him. He kept soaring through the chaos. He unleashed a barrage of torpedoes. She braced herself, ready for the onslaught. Through the smoke, he surged forward, colliding with her. The impact detonated a crushing shockwave. This time, it had no effect. He smirked. Now she could no longer teleport. Yura scoffed, calling the idea of that attack stopping her absurd. His system would fry long before it could. Fans claimed that dragging her into the afterlife would be enough. Yuri's pressed, asking if he wasn't just protecting himself. He kept striking, refusing control, and Yuri's demanded why he joined the mechanics committee. He replied that the committee could at least distinguish humanity's horrors and still hunt for a planet-wide salvation. She reminded him that his only deed so far was avenging Ruwaxi. He shrugged, saying a century was plenty to devise something greater. She pressed on, urging him to recall humanity's greed. Suddenly, a voice announced, "It's ready." Both combatants froze, stunned. Eurus descended from the sky, her wings fluttering like a butterfly. Eurysabe recognized her instantly, demanding why she'd become such an extraordinary being. Viewers scoffed at the irony of him preaching resistance after creating a creature himself. Their hands collided in a flash of force. Purple energy erupted from the other girl, surging toward her. Eurysabe watched the black gold begin to dissipate. His reverence fell to the ground, eyes fixed on her hands in bewilderment. She stared at her own hands, asking how this could be happening. Eurysabe strained to understand how she was absorbing the black gold. Eurysabe declared she could drain any zombie's energy entirely, promising salvation for all. He stared, shocked, noting she looked far from fine. The child confessed her body was on the brink of failing. She'd always accepted the inevitable, whether transformed or not. When Eurysabe revealed she'd already met Urasabi in the future. Bewildered, he asked if she could read thoughts. She replied only that she could finally see it. Urasabe traveled back in time to aid everyone. Urasabe trusted that with proper support and encouragement, everything would fall into place. Her father always said it, and she believed it. She was convinced they could unite and overcome the challenges. She resolved to absorb every ounce of black gold on Earth. Then she'd leave the solar system, steering the meteor into another cosmos. And Yabe was warned that the future now lay in his hands. He raised his arms and shouted for you. But she was already gone.